Doesn't like me. Boo. Okay. Okay.
Stream Elements said, Vanguard Reviewer is now live, streaming World of Warcraft Pash SHTF. Let's PvP it up.
Nagrand. Yeah, I'm not going. I'm gonna go up to maybe tier 3 for all the heirlooms. I don't want to waste like 5,000 gold just to get all that. What was the name of that song? Darn it. I think it was this one. Yep, that's the one. That's the one. I need more recognition, I believe. What is that? I'll just queue DPS because I want to do some adventuring. Moray. Moray. Murray. How you doing, Murray? This is Tellar? Oh wait.
Hello, Internet.
That's Tellar.
Here, and
Alright.
today we are talking melee DPS classes.
The fuck looks so different.
An expansion of a class you really left so late. It's basically the big credit scene of Marvel.
There's enemies here.
Launch date is now just a couple of weeks away. Syed Anathius and his daring plunging neckline awaiting atop the first
Looks completely different.
which class is best at what in the land of the dead. So yes, we will be looking at pure
I
damage.
guess they just redesigned the whole thing.
Always changing.
Man, that is
You are, but
beautiful.
now finding the specs
Let's see if I could.
where they really shine and what they suck at, the stupid sucky specs, to give you a solid overview of what each spec does and where it fits. So join us as we rate melee DPS classes in World of Warcraft Shadowlands. Okay.
One.
Go.
10.
As far as enhancement shaman goes in Shadowlands, it's kind of irrelevant.
There you go.
They end up at the top of the
What?
meter, or, and this is far more likely, let's be honest, the bottom. The
That's
fact
pretty
that
far away,
they
though.
hold the title of most improved melee spec in Shadowlands, as Legion and BFA's 3.1 note version, a build spender which lived or died on how many Stormbringer procs popped, and therefore how many Storm Strikes you could spam, which was fun, but you were always basically hoping that lightning would literally strike twice, or preferably 10 times, has been replaced by a much more intricate and varied cooldown-based style, which really does bring the feeling of being that badass battle mage back to enhancement. So Maelstrom
Yeah.
is gone as resource, and instead your melee attacks have a chance to award you stacks of Maelstrom weapon, 10 of which you can store, and 5 of which you can spend at a time to improve the cast time and damage of your next healing or damage spell by 100%. This
Wow.
prioritizing of two different resources, ability cooldowns and Maelstrom stacks, means that there's a huge number of different abilities.
Kind of makes me want to play Enhancement.
Storm Strike,
right
Lava
now,
Lash,
but
Lightning Bolt,
maybe
Flame
later.
Shot, Frost Shot, and Crash Lightning are all constant button presses on single target fights. And although it's a spec where you are more than likely going to end up with odd unused global cooldown every now and then, enhancement, like Paladins, are so jam-packed with outrageous utility, they can always make use of those gaps to drop a healing totem, or a capacitor totem, or a tremor totem, or maintain lightning shield, or wind fury totem, or whatever. You get the idea. It feels great, and although it's probably precisely because of that complete utility toolkit that Blizz will never really let enhancement be a
Oh man, you could actually like collect actual
assault as a talent.
loot and I think.
In that cozy
I could jump.
really solid burst.
It's awesome.
As always, it's the stacked AoE, which is the most rocks out, stupid, zappy fun, and hailstorm synergizing with
I can't repair, can I?
shot into a multi-target attack means there's
Nope.
more depth in that for this one too. And yes, you will have noticed from watching this footage too, it's an absolute fireworks show of the spec. Use it to show off to your friend who's never played WoW before. Play it, do the best damage to it. In an expansion all about death and how awesome and spiky it is, it's kind of fitting that Death Knights are very healthy in Shadowlands.
Yeah.
They're not healthy ones. They're definite. Okay, let's start this again. Death Knights in general are just awesome to have around the place in Shadowlands because they've got Death Grip and now Anti-Magic Shell baseline too, which is basically a bit OP in the first wave of the expansion. Castle Magnesia. They've also got a whole bunch of runes to add to their weapons. Baseline access to Little Goody Guy, which is nice because companionship is important, and Covenant choices that can really help with their traditional problem of moving slower than Blizzard fixing class balance. But which Death Knight will you choose? is Breath of Cinder this. And I know a lot of people disagree with me on this and love the playstyle of maintaining the duration of DK's Toxic Ice Belt as the most significant part of your DPS output, and that's awesome. GG for your crossing game. It's like every expansion, I'm in the group that has our own little fingers crossed and praying, please let obliteration be this. Please let obliteration be this. And it never is. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, yeah, but it's different this time, Tally, because now Frost has two-handed weapons back. And that gives us more obliterate damage.
Back? And you ever had that? Oh yeah, Frost used to be the tank spec, right?
And you know, fair play, that is some lung capacity right there. Boss is more often than not going to be this. It is what it is. But Frost is still a really smooth
Bosses.
though, and does top tier damage. However the two-handed build ends up, making it one of your strongest possible choices for aggression rating this tier. Unholy is a much more methodical and multi-layered spec, having essentially 3 resources to keep track of in runes, runic power, but also festering swords. And I'm not saying Unholy is the big brain choice, but I went over the maths, and 3 resources is definitely more than 2, so it checks out that you need the big brain to play it. And that's not me saying that, that's science. The base rotation of applying swords to a target before popping them for top plus squelching kecks.
Oh my god, it's going way up. Dude, epics. Too.
Some Gargoyle is now baseline too, so there's a new talent in Unholy Pact, which doesn't feel all that new at all. It's basically the Hell Chains Azurite trait with an added strength bump. It's unnew, it's unholy. And along with Unholy Mastery now affecting your healing damage as well. Basically, single target DPS is a fair bit better and easier to deal in Shadowlands. And of course, where Unholy really excels is the kind of long-lasting, stacked AoE that is your bread and butter in Mythic Plus, where bursting swords and Virulent Blades scale to outrageous amounts of damage pretty much no other DPS can keep up with. It's true that Outbreak now only spreads Plague on its initial use and doesn't just passively infect mobs through its duration, which means it's unpassive, it's unholy. So using it is now a much more involved experience, which is a bit more fiddly for sure, but it's probably a fair price to pay for the pure carnage that can cause. The thing I really like about Unholy is that when I'm playing it, no matter how much DPS I'm doing, I always feel like I could be doing more. It's just a better player, and that's a genuinely good feeling for a spec to have, I think. Big brain, big AoE, big PC. Gather round, children, for I am going to tell you a story. It is a story as old and unchanging as
Monk.
This
Monks are getting screwed.
Oh no, Granddad. Please don't. It's the same story every expansion.
Long ago, the Windwalker was celebrated throughout the land for her grace and speed of movement. Seeing her traverse the battlefield, like the winds never mentioned it, was
R.
a sight
McBrom 1339.
terrifying, and no one could escape her like footed wrath, but especially not healers in the
What?
arena, which made her an undisputed
No, I don't want to become famous. Go away.
Said,
while she
Shut up.
delighted in her high PvP ranking and being part of
wanna become famous?
Yes.
Buy followers, primes, and viewers on https://
Post links on here.
.ly /
You gotta get a little creative, right?
xhc3 bigfollows.com.
weaving together of abilities with plenty of buttons to press.
Five.
Said to always be fun to play. Some even said that Windwalker possessed the most enjoyable rotation in the whole of the kingdom. I can't disagree, especially in Shadowlands, where Blizzard made Swen the White Tiger baseline and added a really cool mini execution sentence style mechanic to it to make it even more engaging, as well as adding old Azurite trait Dance of Chi-Ji in its place, a talent that would always plenty of promiscuity being available. Touch of Death became an insta-death ability again, and granted 3 Chi spheres, fortifying rules baseline. They had some really interesting legendaries which
Good.
synergized
I might want to play my monk.
abilities. It seemed that the Windwalker's power had only grown.
But Granddad, if that's true, and they were so strong in dungeons
It took
And since Brewmaster was a total Chad tactic,
8 minutes, maybe.
pick for progression rating, there never seemed much point taking war going on.
But Granddad, Light of the Blizz just tuned their single target damage better and fixed their terrible scaling so that players could have fun with the unusually engaging gameplay rotation and be allowed to be in their team.
That young lady is a mystery only the spirits know the answer to.
That was a terrible story, Granddad.
The thing I like about Retribution Paladin is that you always know exactly where you are with it, you know? A DPS rotation that relies very little on procs or RNG gives it a sturdy, predictable, reliable feel, steadily building up holy power with your short cooldown generators and then spending it on your single target or AoE big hitters, helping the group out with fast utility and the odd heal in spare global cooldowns, all the while waiting for Avenging Wrath to come off cooldown so you can bust out some wings for holy bursty action. And Shadowlands Wreck has all of that still in place with a few more bells and whistles thanks to deep cleaning and a couple of nice new additions. Wake of Ashes and Hammer of Wrath are both now baseline as they should be, but the real news from a DPS perspective is the addition of new talent, Final Reckoning, which combined with Execution Sentence massively increase Retribution's burst potential in both single target and AoE. I am not joking around here, okay?
Can Dark out Dark
Heads in a warm shower, and that
Iron be
strong
Paladins?
execute game too, which is great news because their sustain damage is, I mean, it's fine, it's okay, it's fine. Conduit's help is fine. This all means that good old, comfy, reliable Ret is going to be comfortably solid in dungeons and raids, where that group healing is going to come in especially useful too. Castlevania has fangfuls of bleed damage mechanics for raids to deal with, and with abilities like Life Denied, Blessing of Sacrifice, Blessing of Protection, and Word of Glory, Paladins have the tools to deal with that. Dwarf Paladins, especially with their ratio. Okay, fam, everyone go Dwarf Paladin for Castellanathria. At last, world first, here we come! Oh wait, they made some bleeds in Warstone form. Well, too late, we all went Dwarf already. Let's go! And that's really satisfying, because having a chance to weave in a bit of healing between DPS windows that are more bursty than a steamroller.
It's great for mythics.
Very much staying true to the class fantasy. As is apparently having all the mobility of an 80s motorroller, I'm afraid, which still gives Ret major issues in but at least in Shadowlands, these issues
They should have more temporary movement. Like Blessing of Freedom is a good start, and then the mount skill. I forgot what that's called. Poor survival.
I really want to love you, I really do, and maybe one day you will be the awesome combined, perfectly balanced range melee spec that I've got. No, it's just in there, waiting to get out, but we can't get it. And here's the thing, I am fully aware I could say any old shit about survival right now, and basically none of you would ever know the difference, because this class is less played than a new Vega record that isn't Mambo number 5, which is of course complete tragedy, because Mambo number 7 is an underrated masterpiece. I'm dying on that. I could say that survival has really improved since they added the new never-ending Chiz ability, or it's gone really downhill since they took away spiky nipple bomb. And none of you are going to bother checking to see if I'm telling the truth or not. You're just looking at the description to see where the Fury Warrior segment is. And that's fair enough, because honestly, even the small handful of nationally protected survival hunter names couldn't have this spec was any
It's actually protected.
bug that meant passive focus regeneration was
They're a protected class. They're an endangered species.
less testing than the delivered Swiss card actually couldn't be reliably tested anyway. And that's a shame, because here is the bare truth about survival. It's really fun. Like, genuinely proper fun. Mode version don't take long to fight, and even then it's enjoyably slashing, grenade chucking, grappling, hooking, romp. But when you take Mongoose Fight, like you definitely will, then there's a genuinely interesting core rotation. Keeping your one dot up, throwing your grenades around, because seriously, what you is a grenade if you throw it some cool, and cool focus to get the most out of your Mongoose stacks. The duration of which does not refresh in the first one you use. It's kind of unique and gives a really satisfying and beefy damage window when you use your coordinated assault cooldown. So taken in isolation, it's genuinely cool spec, with the return of Killshot making it even cooler, because Killshot is just cool. I don't care what anyone says, it's cool, okay? With excellent survival, thanks to his cool mastery. And I would recommend it, taken in the context of every other spec in the game existing, though it fares less well. Survival Hunter's AoE and burst damage is pretty just okay, which means you've got a spec that not many people play, which doesn't do an unusually good amount of damage, and crucially, the melee spec doesn't offer any utility that you can't get with the two ranged hunter specs. So in a raid team, most people are just gonna take them. It is, though, pretty badass in PvP, and everyone's hoping that the fact it's so untested means there is a few iterations behind other Shadowlands specs, and the least finished Blizz to pop those numbers up a bit, give the player base just a little more reason to think about survival, because it deserves it. Okay, Rogues, are you ready for some hardcore class fantasy all up in your sneaky leather faces? The great unpruning has been while you were sleeping and graced us with the return of poisons for all
Yes.
rogues. Yes, even that rogue that's really a pirate. At last, I can live my rogue fantasy by making sure that I press a button every hour to apply a buff to my blades. I should probably make it more fun. Everyone gets evasion, and slice and dice is now baseline for the whole snappy trio too, adding an extra level of maintenance to your play, which you're probably going to feel differently about depending on your spec. And let's get started with Assassination Rogue, which overall isn't exactly blazing a path of change and evolution to Shadowlands. The most notable addition being the return of Ambush, which wouldn't need so much to talk about by itself, but the changes it makes to the blind side talent, where Mutilate can give you a free ambush without needing to be in stealth, is very tasty and makes it by far the most engaging talent on that row. I quite like them getting alacrity too, and I don't care how bored.
That is subtly, right?
And did you enjoy those nice changes, Asteros? Did you really savor them? Good, because that's your lot, that's it. So Assassination remains the classic builder-spender maintenance spec, even more so now that you've got slice and dice to keep track of, keeping dots and debuffs up on the target through a combination of abilities and finishers. It's going to give you good, consistent, single-target damage and clean, and I have a lot of fun with it. It feels like a proper rogue spec, you know? Like, if rogue didn't exist and Blizz were designing it for the first time, you'd imagine Assassination is basically what they'd come up with. And I mean, yeah, okay, it's not no good burst AoE, but why would it when you've got Outlaw that you can spec into for that? And why are Pirate Rogues so good at dishing out that exceptional AoE and cleave, making them the perfect dungeon rogue? Well, just because they are. And also discipline. And while that disgustingly powerful and easy to use ability is still in place, it now has that patented Shadowlands 5-target cap. But it does also do instant damage to all those targets on use, so yeah, swings and roundabouts. It's still disgusting, and since all rogues are super valuable in dungeons because, you know, they can make everyone invisible, mythic cross superiority is assured. The other thing everyone knows about Outlaw, of course, is that they are the RNG rogue who get their power from literally rolling dice. The good news in Shadowlands is the smoothing out of that randomness. Roll the Bones becomes a 45-second cooldown, something I thought I would hate, but which, having played with it, I now realise just how much Outlaw game time I spent re-rolling Bones.
Nick.
The spec is better for this change and much more consistent. It turns out you can spell Outlaw without RNG. I also really like the change to the Grand Melee buff.
Oh, you can.
Dice, so there's like no maintenance and just full-on piratey cutlass swinging action. It's probably the most versatile of rogue specs and also the most immediate in terms of gameplay. The opposite of subtlety, which is often known as the connoisseur's choice. And on the face of it, that elitist streak remains in Shadowlands. Subtlety still has that multi-layered and engaging feel of slinking in and out of stealth and weaving around Shadowdowns. And it's with that ability that we see what could be the biggest change, which is not in Shadowdowns only having one charge baseline. What we call by that upline actually ends up being generally more in change to the enveloping shadows talent. Now giving you back that second charge and reducing the cooldown for combo points spent, which essentially creates an easy mode talent, subtlety, where just putting Shadow Dance on the cooldown is a genuinely viable style of play. The damage window of Dark Shadow is now the connoisseur choice to push the skill ceiling, and I think I'm okay with that. It's cool to have a way to make the spec more immediate and user-friendly. I guess the important thing for me is that easy mode doesn't end up being the optimum all situation damage choice over Dark Shadow, especially as Find Weakness returning is more of a passive debuff that is almost always up on single target rather than a maximizing uptime gameplay style that we can see in the past. Subtlety is probably the strongest rogue spec for pure single target damage numbers, and for a long time on beta was the strongest pure numbers melee full stop, thanks to a killer legendary conflict combination, which has seen enough constant nerfs to raise its power insignificantly over the course of testing, but is still capable of some tasty numbers, like numbers made out of chocolate eclairs.
Damn.
Nothing wrong with
I already did that for my PvP spec.
with spec if it's fun to play and has hidden depths. See Fury Warrior for proof. But since being introduced in Legion, Havoc has relied more than anyone else on whatever the current expansion's borrowed power system is to fill in the gaps, and that's very noticeable as we head into Shadowlands. Losing the Furious Blade as my trait and haste buff being an especial bummer, and that is not the end of the sad story about everything that Havoc has lost. Its survivability has been nerfed across the board. Blade Dance losing its 100% dodge, Blur, Soul Rending, Desperate Instincts, and Netherwalk all being weaker in the new expansion. Havoc's
Why?
strengths are its insane speed and maneuverability. These wings under a show fan. Its multi-target cleave, which tends to happen without you really trying, although new talent Glaive Tempest is really enjoyable if you do want to try. And Immolation Aura being baseline is very nice there too. Some really beefy burst AoE through Unbound Chaos, and if you choose to go super sexy Fenrir Mighty Boys for your Shadowlands Covenant, Sinful Brand, which is a monster, and their biggest strength of all, which is the fact that you can bind a prismatic bauble toy to your Blade Dance and make awesome rainbow trails there. This might make you think that Mythic Plus dungeons would be Havoc's natural habitat, and that's certainly where they shine. But the good news is that every raid group is going to want a Demon Hunter too. Not because you're DPS, obviously, there's nothing wrong with Havoc's single target, but it's solidly middle of the pack. But because Demon Hunters bring the Chaos Brand passive, which is essentially a group utility buff that gives everyone on the team a 5% magic damage increase, which is, well, it's mandatory to have one Demon Hunter per raid. Simple as that. But only one. The straight facts is, whenever I pick up Havoc, I have an absolute blast. It's fast-paced, straight to the point.
It's really good in PvP.
I always think makes it the perfect
Really good for caster hunter hunting or healer hunting.
spec for you, but many players may find that Demon Hunter lacks the important decision-making and ability synergy that makes up the depot WoW experience. You know, I have to admit, Feral is one of those classes that I always dread a little bit when it comes to making these videos, because, truth be told, I've always been a bit daunted by the spec's reputation of being incredibly complex to play. It's the archetypal maintenance spec, isn't it? Carefully, precisely balancing your damage over time bleeds onto tiny little plates smothered in spicy damage buffs and keeping them all spinning constantly without letting any of that delicious DPS fall off. Most awesomest WoW players only, no noobs allowed. And if that's how you think of Feral too, then I have some really good news. That reputation is kind of from a bygone age, and these days Feral is a whole lot more straightforward and easier to keep track of than lots of people assume. You'll rake and rip things up on targets while smashing as many ferocious bite spenders as possible in between. The 5D trickiness comes from making sure that shots are empowered by Tiger's Fury, the new stealth damage awarding Berserk, and if talented, new token reworked. And actually, okay, it took them like 65 major attempts, but it might even be pretty engaging now. Fair play. Blood Talons buffs when they are applied, and it has to be when those buffs are applied because cats are pretty much the only class whose snapshotting is still a thing. Asking my dad. So yeah, there's a focus on resource management and pooling resources to high burst windows, which is naturally more punishing to get wrong than a more reactive style class, but honestly, it is pretty straightforward. So don't avoid Feral if you think it's going to be a spreadsheet complex mess. No, avoid Feral because Blizz totally killed it and it's trash DPS. No, I'm joking, except it's true though. No, I'm joking. Okay, so in a raid
You see his tail.
single target damage is just okay, and although they have plenty of mobility and survivability for themselves, they don't come with the kind of group utility
Pretty fun PvP.
Paladin or a Death Knight. A Demon Hunter now does make sense. I mean, when has any cat ever given a single solitary shit about anyone except themselves? And with melee raid spots being so tight, kiddies might find it tough to justify a spot. But put them in a high Mythic Plus where the simple uncapped AoE joy of Primal Wrath can really go wild on high health stack mobs, or an arena where their flexibility and strong cooldowns make them amongst the very strongest of picks. And you're going to start to see this cat really showing his skills. Personally, I have had a surprising amount of fun with this spec in beta dungeons, and my days of being intimidated by the playstyle are long gone, which feels great. I'm so sorry. No mucking around here, okay? I think warriors are in a great state heading into the lands in
What?
loads of different ways. They are in
Wasn't paying attention.
right, so start with every single one of those 4 options being interesting and effective. Also, the great unpruning has been very kind to them because now you have Shield Slam, which you're going to use all of the time with your shield. Okay, fine, not Shield Slam, but everything else This is pretty useful, especially baseline class-wide access to spell reflection, giving damage alongside spell immunity on a short cooldown with 0 cost. That is literally 3 shields. Warriors still aren't going to match the personal utility of rogues or the group benefit of paladins, but it's definitely an improvement. We rated Fury Warrior as the most fun melee specialization going into BFA, and honestly, we're gonna have to do the same this time around, because this is a spec that is still manic button bashing creepy fun.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a true modern WoW spec in that it's simple but still super engaging, like Havoc Demon Hunter, but if you needed more than 2 fingers to play it. It's a straight
Yeah.
up build a spend.
You have 4 or 5.
Emphasis on spending. Hitting Rampage to maintain your damage buff end range, which has a smaller haste buff in Shadowlands, meaning that Fury has lost a smidgen of that hectic pace, which some people are actually happy about because, oh, it was too fast. But those people are idiots because with Fury, faster the better. Oh yeah, it's called Fury Warrior to be used, not quite Annoyed Warrior, okay? And whereas that core concept and rotation remains thankfully in place, there has been some interesting changes in the talents, where basically all the ones that you've been picking throughout BFA are gone, and there's a lot more competition in rogues as a result. Onslaught kind of gets in the way a bit, to be honest, but Frenzy's haste buff being tied to Rampage cast is really neat, and I like Meat Cleaver giving you more cleave attacks from your improved Whirlwind, but potentially the most useful of all is Fresh Meat, giving you a guaranteed enrage the first time that you use Bloodthirst on the target, a game changer for leveling, and importantly, Mythic Plus content, filling a noticeable gap in Fury's dungeon bag of tricks. Overall, Fury is going to give you fast-paced, strong, sustained damage, excelling in execute phases, and stacked 2 to 5 target creep. It's still an absolute ball to press buttons for, but now with more choice and toys to play with, I count that as a massive, massive win. Oh yeah, and also single-minded Fury means that badass prop mage tower players dual wield players. That's win, win, win. Arms Warrior, at least thematically, achieves in Shadowlands what you always wanted to any extent.
2 target cleave.
Totally different from Fury. In my opinion, at least, successfully capturing that feeling of big, precise, heavy hit, and as a result, is a spec where you do find yourself with unused GCDs as you slowly build range. And the key to how satisfying Arms Warrior plays always depends for me on how good it feels to hit something from that range in your bursty damage windows. The good news is that in Shadowlands, it feels pretty great. Your Deep Wounds Mastery has been changed from scaling bleed damage to just flat out increasing the target's damage taken, which is much more immediate and less passive. And it's no longer applied by Execute. So Mortal Strike is back on the Execute phase menu, boys. And yes, sorry, but we are going to have to talk about that Execute phase, because you step out fully armed with Sudden Death, Massacre, the new Ashen Juggernaut conduit, and as a member of the Ventnir Covenant giving you Condemn, congratulations, you are now a number 1 9-carat top Execute.
I'm confused. Does Nerds all have Frostborn?
In 90-second boss fights without even trying. And is that a bit silly? Definitely. Is it outrageous and surprisingly spec fantasy fulfilling head-crunching fun? Absolutely. Obviously in longer raid fights, a lot more thought needs to be given to lining up your damage windows with Colossus Smash. And with a new 15-second duration on sweeping strikes, Arms' real niche power lies in 2 target cleave, which is a pretty specific niche to be honest, but with their defenses also getting a big buff, this is one of the most immediate and versatile freedom versions of Arms we've had in years. And there we have it, my opinion on the strengths and weaknesses and funness and changes of all the Shadowlands melee specs. What do you think of my assessment? Did I miss out on your class's biggest asset because I was too busy making excellent puns? Fair trade-off in my opinion, but you may feel different. Which spec will you be taking into Shadowlands when it launches? What has changed since I made this video that you absolutely have to let me know about?
Western DPS so low.
Let us know in the comments below. And thanks for joining us today. If you like this video, don't thank us, thank our patrons who give their actual real-life money to make all of our
'Cause my gear's broken, probably.
from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, because without you, there'd be a whole lot less Taliesin. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. Remember, my name is Rextroy. No, my name is Taliesin. You and Evertal and Anirin too. Until next time, cheerio.
I did it.
Top 10 hardest bosses that were not in bosses of World of Warcraft. You know what number 1 is? Spine of Death. I can already guarantee you it's going to be Spine of Death. Alright.
Still, we could over the hardest raid bosses in the game that were not the end boss.
It has 2 charges now. Hell yeah.
Hardest boss, whichever raid you're doing.
Alright.
And at number 10, we have Aura. This boss actually holds
Shattering throw.
this boss was gone unkilled while it was available to hunt, as it took the world's first 87 days to down the boss after defeating the Twin Emperors.
Okay, you gotta remember though, this is like back in Classic where like everything was fucked up. So like anything that you consider like in Classic or BC, sure. Like there were plenty of goofy yeah, it was bugged or something. Like I don't know if this
Aura was
counts.
basically just an optional boss in AK-40.
Yeah.
So no one really cared too much.
She's a bug.
The reason the boss was unkilled for so long was because the boss was just kind of buggy, which was also the same reason Cthulhu went unkilled for so long. Oro had this mechanic called Sand Blast.
Yeah.
Do a huge 180-degree cone in front of Oro and stun all targets hit for 5 seconds.
And it drops their aggro.
He would always target the player with that.
This is for this is for PvE, right? Talents. Where'd you go? There you go. I'm broken. I'm broken. And Frothing Berserker. Dragon Bladestorm. Dragon War. Stop. Damn it. Wait a minute. Oh, fuck.
Hey, check it out. Isn't it pretty? So keep in mind, this is a fisheye camera that I'm using here. This is a GoPro. So you see what my bike looks like. My
Okay,
bike
I'm
is
done
about
with that.
2 feet away from me,
Oh.
and it looks like it is, really far because of the fisheye lens.
Fuck. Yeah, I'm not going
This
to
really
that. Hell no.
nasty floor area that's outside. You can see that they really haven't put much effort into maintaining that. You can see that it's also really uneven in addition to having tiles come up. You can see maybe like 10 customers here at a time. It's just like 2 people per table.
Go ahead.
You've got- this is for the
Pretzel Rocks said, now playing The Long Road Home by Anuk Shift https://prtzl.to/jmuck30 to see.
It's all Skrillex's fault. He made that popular. No one's here. Come on, bring it down.
Pretzel Rocks said, now playing Stronger by Prismo https://prtzl.do/702
Prismo. Ah, monk. Dude. Come on, get him down. Damn. Repair.
Pretzel Rocks said, now playing Best Friends by Nevermind.
No!
https://prtzl.do/evjrbrusla.
Hamstring. Yeah, I'm not doing shit to him. What the fuck? It's pretty good. They're gone. We all dead? Yep, we're all dead. You're okay. Hey. Thank you.
Bratzel Rocks said, now playing The Wizard by SKYL1NK https://prtzl.do/fdjv. Wow.
Yep. Damn, camping and fuck. Come on, get it. Ah, too far. Yeah, we're pushing him back. Hey, Get him back. Come on, there we go. Fuck. God damn.
Bratzel Rocks said, now playing Keep Smiling original mix by DJ Yox https://prtzl.do/wix303jdfe.
Oh, DK? Yeah, DK going now. That guy going now. Hamstring! Ah, fuck. Pretty cool. I like this. Very different. Catchy. Kinda how it feels. Not really though. I like the effect on the lead though. It's really cool. Yeah, go inside. So many pets. Pets everywhere. And you got fucked. Damn! I'm all the way at the bottom. Yep. It's the same lead pattern. Long for a little too long. They should have made the shot. They should have made the song shorter. The fuck? Silence me.
Pretzel Rocks said. Now playing Endgame by Dr. Vox. https://prtzl.do/lu7pdv senior.
Go away! Fuck.
Pretzel Rocks said, now playing Love by Venemy in Diver City to https://prtzl.do/ebichva. Damn it. Alright. Be right back. Pretzel Rocks said, now playing Shine, Gabriel Drew and Bloom remix by Spectrum https://prtzl.do/xquoxfull2u6.
Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the
Yeah, I'm coming over there.
Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through? For you, eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through? For you.
All right.
Pretzel rocks. Said. Now playing Away by Nan and Zephyro https://prtzl.do/Lua9pdf6.
do poo-poo.
See in the office, and I'm so glad that Biden is president.
Alright, dude, let's fucking go, dude! Woo! Wow! Oh, it's poo-poo, stinky, uh-oh, duty. It's Boo-Boo Bennett time!
So much lag. So many pixels.
Hold on, it's Boo-Boo Bennett copium time directly in
I'm gonna count already.
I don't want people to miss out on this. Okay, I'm gonna tweet out that this is happening. Ooh, stinky. Okay, let's do it.
I want civility, humanity, decency in the office, and I'm so glad that Biden is president. And he's not the president yet. He's the president. No? Okay, well, by the time this airs, then he'll be the president. So
It was right. Oh, she was right. She was wrong. President-elect, unless she like literally means.
There we go.
He's not the president. He's president-elect. Is that it?
Airs probably tonight. Okay.
Saying he can grab butthole to know that that's really his butthole? I don't think so. So
Would you like to see?
that's really silly argument.
Is that decent?
Part of the discourse.
Is it decent? Is it decent?
By asking that
What do you mean decency? What decency? You can't turn around and hit the decency button, dude.
Nope.
Everything you do is indecent. You can't literally turn around after so much racial agitation, talking about like begging on the Liberty Hangout Twitter account, begging for fascism, to turn around and just be like, why are you being decent? No, fuck you. You don't deserve decency, okay? Also, you shit yourself. If you poop yourself, and then you run, if you poop yourself and then you run along and bring back a gun to a famous college campus where students were shot in protest, and you're not a decent person, okay? You don't get the respect you don't deserve. So much for the tolerant left. Oh, absolutely. There is no tolerance. No, there is no tolerance to the intolerant, motherfucker. If you expected me to be one of these like, ooh, I need to do civility. I need to do civility. Oh no! Like if you thought I was gonna be one of those people, well, guess what? I'm not, bitch. I'm here to fucking make fun of Republicans, dude, all day, every goddamn day. Okay? Woo! Where's my copium? Hold on, guys. Oh, hold on. Shit. Oh, I need it, brother. Oh, fuck. Oh, God. Oh, I need it. Donald Trump is still president. 4 years.
I don't take pictures of my butthole and upload them online. We're here in Clearwater where we are asking people what the heck they think is going on with this 2020 election. And do they really think Joe Biden got more votes than Barack Obama did in 2008?
Okay.
He won. He won the.
What? Wait, did Donald Trump then? Did Donald Trump get more votes than Barack Obama did? Because he did too. Confederate flag on the...
smoking
Dude, hold on. This is great. Watch. I love this because this is just all the losing flags. My man posted up with all of his fucking participation trophies. Listen up, brother. Ladies and gentlemen! Listen the fuck up. You already know, ladies and gentlemen, I hate losers. I'm a goddamn American. Why in the hell are these Americans not conceding? What the hell is this? This is a secession terroristic flag. Ladies and gentlemen, Americans don't celebrate losers. Back to back.
Yep.
Is your son smoking?
The irony, of course, is that the Confederacy lasted just as long as the Trump administration did. Oh! Oh, the fucking hammer!
Bracken taking selfies of his butthole decency?
Here we have a Pennsylvania native ballot counter looking for more Joe Biden ballots. Any luck?
Yeah.
If you could describe your feelings about the election, and we're into Saturday, they just declared, or the media did, declared Joe Biden the president. What is your initial reaction to everything going on?
Well, I heard that Trump's trying to have all the states recount everything. I think he's just being a sore loser because Biden would be a great president. And plus, we need somebody else right now with everything that's been going on for the past year.
Yeah.
With Corona and
Is this person unaware of who Boo Boo Bennett is? Like, she's having like a normal conversation with a person who is not a normal person.
everything. Trump really hasn't done anything. You know what I mean? And I really think Biden would be a good president. I don't go with either of their political views, but I'd rather have somebody else in the office.
Right. So what would you want Biden to do that Trump doesn't?
That's a hard question. I don't know, really.
But you think he'd handle it better?
What do you mean? What? How do you not know? There's like 7 million things you can point to. It's not even like what Joe Biden is going to go and do better. It's what you want him to do better. Like, it's not even what he's going to be capable of doing. Just say anything. Literally just anything. Just be like, deal with COVID better. She's going to say how. You're going to say, deal with it better. I don't know. He's got enough professionals. Like, it's the easiest question to ask. I mean, it's the easiest question to answer. Like, this is a wish list for you. This is not necessarily what he is able to do, okay? But there is a multitude of things that you can point to, like immigration policy. Immigration reform is broadly popular, and I think that Joe Biden is going to do a decent job with it, specifically utilizing the ever-expanding executive orders that the Trump administration has tried to take advantage of as well in regards to immigration policy.
Yeah.
Do you know what Trump has done so far?
What the fuck is that?
Like, yes, he's had everybody do the masks and everything, and I don't really go much into politics. I'm not really a political person.
Who'd you vote for?
Oh, Joe Biden!
You voted for Joe Biden!
Ask me why.
Why?
Decency!
Decency!
Ask me why again.
Why again?
Leadership!
Leadership!
These are so ridiculous, dude. This is... liberals are just so whack. I mean... You know what? Like... To restore the soul of the nation, Jack! I voted for decency. What the fuck are you saying, man? Oh, Jesus Christ. She's probably gonna be like, what about Hunter Biden? He's showing your ass crack decent? It's like, you know, what people do in the privacy, in their private correspondence, is not up to you, okay? What about leaving the government out of your bedroom? What's indecent is stealing that information and then revealing it to the entire fucking population. That's inappropriate, illegal, and also indecent. So if you're gonna talk about Hunter Biden's dick, first of all, one, admit that it's a nice dick, okay? We have to do that. This is like in an effort to increase bipartisanship in this country. I think both sides can come together and say, look, Hunter Biden's got a nice cock, okay? Got a good old looking dick. And he very clearly fucks. That's where I'm at as far as like bipartisan compromise. That's where we're at here.
Yes, I love the guy. I love.
One is it kind of like what Biden did to Clarence Thomas? First of all, Biden literally supported Clarence Thomas and was inappropriate in the way that he dealt with Anita Hill. That's one. And number two is a Supreme Court justice's personal dealings of sexual misconduct with people that work under him are entirely different than a person running for president, and what his son, completely unrelated to him, his son may or may not have done in the privacy of his own bedroom space, okay? This comparison is psychotic. It's not like fucking Clarence Thomas was you know, sending dick pics to random people. He was being sexually inappropriate with Anita Hill, a clerk of his. Sucks to suck. Hunter fucks. That's all I'm gonna say. You're just mad that your fucking first son sucks dog shit, okay? You're just mad that that chinless fuck Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, if even put together, would not be 25% as cool as Hunter Biden. That's just the truth, okay?
All right. Is this even worth anything? Because you have to freaking wait just to craft it. Same music. So hidden. It's supposed to sparkle, but no. Anyone actually buying them? that? Agility. Shield.
Pretzel Rocks said, now playing Dragon's Fire by Popsky to https://prtzl.to/5god9brpc4.
Yeah. Sure.
Pretzel Rocks said, now playing Pocket Jam by Fear at https://prtzl.to/oyarj.
Tall Buck's tail. There we go. Is that Argus? I think it is. I'm really believing it is.
Pretzel rocks. Said. Now playing Verdande by Wantal at https://prtzl.do/VOMPRPJCN.
Moving. What the fuck? It's not EDM. It's not bad. No. This is kind of EDM. Where do I go? Here? I'm back here.
Pretzel Rocks said, now playing Scum by Kamui https://prtcl.do/lou7gxr.
We can eliminate these common skulls.
Does anyone want to play PUBG with me?
Me.
Okay, everyone, spam F. When we get into the plane, everyone spam
The bacon is cooked.
Does anyone have a vertical folder?
This feels kind of dead. Next one.
Pretzel Rocks said, now playing In My Way by JFARR and Tomadat https://prtzel.do/5.973ws4. Pretzel Rocks said, now playing Trinity by Cadenza https://prtzl.do/xquaxelbeck6.
Me. Oh.
Pretzel Rocks said, now playing Bravado by Azurite and Crossalot https://prtzl.do/youvoir.
Rook. Marine traps. How many more are there? What? Yeah, bravado.
Pretzel Rocks said, now playing Oblivion by Haven https://prtzl.do/new44jamihb.
Come on. Come on. Ah, damn it. Ah! That's it. That's it. full? What? Stone is worth soulbound.
Bratzel Rocks said, now playing Brad Racer original mix by Modix to https://prtzl.do/runmk9hl.
Damn it. So many damn quests here. I'm sorry. I just have to kill. What's this place called again? Tannan Jungle. How to get to Tannan Jungle. Close.
Pretzel Rocks said. Now playing enhanced by Nova https://prtzel.do/7022xrdhd.
Loggle. Maybe later. The last two classes, new classes were leather. So I think they should make a corner answer. Let's see. Yeah, that was 2 years ago. Why not both? This guy is talking about adding new specs, which I agree. Like, for one thing, like Shaman should tank, Hunter should tank. Let's see, Warlock should tank too. Rogues could heal, maybe. Like the rogue class in SWTOR could heal. And what else? It's another healer. DK, maybe healing. With blood. I don't know. If blood is for healing yourself, why not just make it for healing other people? Like another shotgun healer. Maybe the role could be for 2 specs. Or the spec could be for 2 roles. That could work. Or make that work. Just archive. Demon Hunter healing. Yeah, Caverns of Time expansion. But the thing is, like Charlotte's, this one is really big. So big that it won't be a Caverns of Time if it fails, right? So you gotta do that, and then I guess the lore of the Caverns of Time is that you only really use it unless you absolutely need to, because there's should be some resource. I don't know enough about it actually to say anything, but Caverns of Time lore. Nobel. Yeah, he was talking about the end time, right? Which is like they're all infinite dragonflight wings. End time with a dungeon kata. Hello, everyone.
Hello everyone. A warning in advance, there will be spoilers for the visions from the Timeless Isle and the...
What's the previous one?
ends of Mist Up in the...
Nagaran Antiquity.
Hello everyone. Today's subject for the lore video is going to be time travel in the world of Warcraft. The gift of time travel was given to Nosdormu by the Titans. Unto you is charged the great task of keeping the purity of time. Know that there's only one true timeline. Though there are those who would have it otherwise. You must protect it. Without the truth of time as it's meant to unfold, more will be lost than you can possibly imagine. The fabric of reality will unravel. It is a heavy task, the base of all tasks on this world, for nothing can transpire without time. This was the blessing for Nosdormu granted by Aman'Thul as the aspects received their powers. As a bonus to this, the Titans showed Nosdormu when and how he will die, so that he would never think that his power is so great and terrible that he had to answer to no one. Right at the start, there's already a thing that doesn't make sense to me. Aman'Thul says that there's one true timeline, past, present, future. But we've seen in several stories that the timeline can be changed and has been changed. For example, in the War of the Ancients trilogy, we read about Broxigar, Ronan and Kresis who are sent back in time. That on its own wouldn't be a big problem, but they've changed some significant events. Kresis, for example, got the aid of the Furbolgs, which is in the original timeline would never have happened. The Night Elves, they were quite racist. He also hid away a couple of blue dragons, and he aided Malfurion in his battle against Xavius. So by Aman'Thul his words, the fabric of reality should have already unraveled, and it shows that time is not set in stone. There is a timeline, but apparently it can be altered, and it's uncertain what the future might bring. Nosdormu and the Bronze Dragonflight do their job in the Caverns of Time. It's uncertain
No
if
music.
they built the caverns themselves or if they were created by the Titans. In the Burning Crusade, Nosdormu started to recruit heroes to help him guard the Time Waves since the Infinite Dragonflight is trying to mess with some key events in the history of Azeroth. The Black Morass, or Black Morass, shows us the Guardian Medivh at the moment that he opens the portal to Draenor. Gul'dan and the First Horde did the same on the other side, and they are ready to invade Azeroth. You might think that stopping this moment would be good for the world. No horde means no invasion, which saves a whole bunch of lives.
Why do you aid the Magus?
The problem is,
Why is it
we
making that
can't
sound?
predict the events, how they will take place. Without the Horde, the alliance that we know today would never have been made, and we wouldn't be able to later team up against all the greater threats that attack Azeroth. The Burning Legion invading, Yogg-Saron in Northrend, Deathwing in Keda, all the events where we stood together for the sake of Azeroth. The escape from Durnhold shows Thrall making escape from Durnhold. The Infinite Dragonflight are trying to is a heavy task, the base of all tasks of this world, for nothing can transpire without time. This was the blessing for Nosdormu granted by Aman'Thul as the aspects received their powers. As a bonus to this, the Titans showed Nosdormu when and how he will die, so that he would never think that his power is so great and terrible that he had to answer to no one. Right at the start, there's already a thing that doesn't make sense to me. Aman'Thul says that there's one true timeline, past, present, future. But we've seen in several stories that the timeline can be changed and has been changed. For example, in the War of the Ancients trilogy, we read about Broxigar, Ronan and Kresis who are sent back in time. That on its own wouldn't be a big problem, but they've changed some significant events. Kresis, for example, got the aid of the Furbolgs, which is in the original timeline would never have happened. The Night Elves, they were quite racist. He also hid away a couple of blue dragons, and he aided Malfurion in his battle against Xavius. So by Aman'Thul, his words, the fabric of reality should have already unraveled, and it shows that time is not set in stone. There is a timeline, but apparently it can be altered, and it's uncertain what the future might bring. Nosdormu and the Bronze Dragonflight do their job in the Caverns of Time. It's uncertain if they built the caverns themselves, or if they were created by the Titans. In the Burning Crusade, Nosdormu started to recruit heroes to help him guard the Time Waves, since the Infinite Dragonflight is trying to mess with some key events in the history of Azeroth. The Black Morass, or Black Morass, shows us the Guardian Medivh at the moment that he opens the portal to Draenor. Gul'dan and the First Horde did the same on the other side, and they are ready to invade Azeroth. You might think that stopping this moment would be good for the world. No Horde means no invasion, which saves a whole bunch of lives.
Where's that? It's part of Nagrin?
The problem is that you can't predict the events, how they will take place. Without the Horde, the alliance that we know today would never have been made, and we wouldn't be able to later team up against all the greater threats that attack Azeroth. The Burning Legion invading, Yogg-Saron in Northrend, Deathwing in Keda, all the events where we stood together for the sake of Azeroth. The escape from Durnhold shows Thrall making escape from Durnhold. The Infinite Dragonflight are trying to stop him from escaping, and I think they are doing this for the same reason as they tried to stop Medivh. No Thrall means no new Horde, which means no one to team up with. You might say, well, this is Azeroth and we would find different allies, but apparently the Infinite Dragonflight knows that taking Thrall and the new Horde out of the picture would mean the death of us all. The culling of Strathholm was a key point in Arthas' road to becoming the Lich King. The Infinite Dragonflight first tries to hide the evidence of the Plague Grain, and then they step in themselves, all to stop Arthas from following the path that it would eventually lead him to becoming the Lich King. One possible bad outcome out of this is that we would never make our way to Northrend to fight the Lich King.
Wait,
if we never followed him to Northrend, we might have never have discovered about Yogg-Saron, who was trying to break out of his prison, and he might have been able to take over the world. The Battle of Mount Hyjal was the fight where Horde and Alliance teamed up for the very first time, and they took on the Burning Legion. The description from the Burning Crusade says that the Infinite Dragonflight is trying to mess this event up, but I never saw them, so I'm not exactly sure what they did there. These dungeons are the easiest form of time travel. You step through a portal, you make sure that the events happen as they were supposed to, and you get out again back to your own time. The timeline is safe, and the events take place exactly as they were supposed to. If we take a look at the novel War of the Ancients, then time travel becomes a little bit more complicated. For those that haven't seen the video on it, Nosdormu got stuck in a time wave anomaly, and he sent Croesus, Ronan and Broxigar back in time, to the time period of the War of the Ancients. There they aided the Night Elves and defeated the Burning Legion. I've told you this before, but the book itself made a couple events in Warcraft 3 no longer make sense. As an example, I told you about Tyrande, who no longer recognized the orcs despite her interactions with Broxigar, and this orc saving them all.
The greenskins who killed Cenarius? Perhaps something more.
You all responded with a couple of answers to this, and there's only one.
Reigns of Galacrest.
First, you gave me the suggestion of the Bronze Dragonflight erasing the memories, like they have in the Escape from Durnhold instance. I can see why you would think this, since it makes
After
a lot of
killing
sense, but there is a problem with this explanation.
10
In the novel
Tears
Stormrage,
of the Veil.
Malfurion still remembers the axe of Cenarius, the weapon he crafted for Broxigar, and he remembers Broxigar's niece Fura. Tyrande still remembers Croesus, and even Brawl knows about Croesus' influences in Malfurion's path to becoming a druid, so I doubt that they erased their memories. The explanation that did make sense to me is that before Warcraft 3, Croesus, Ronan and Brox were not yet sent back in time. Let me try to make sense of this. We have the original timeline, from the War of the Ancients to Warcraft 3 to the moment where the group was sent back in time. In the original timeline, the Night Elves, they managed to win the War of the Ancients without anyone's aid, and time went on without them knowing about the orcs. Warcraft 3 comes around and Tyrande doesn't recognize them. After that comes the moment where Nosdormu gets trapped in this time anomaly and the group is sent back in time. Have you ever asked yourself, if we are going to invent time travel somewhere in the future, shouldn't we already receive visits from time travelers? Normally you would say yes, but imagine this. A circle needs to have a beginning. If you go by the idea that we live in the original timeline, then the future has not yet happened. Nobody has invented time travel yet, so nobody has been able to travel back in time. When our timeline reaches that moment, that's the moment where the circle will begin and our past selves will receive visits from time travelers. The same theory applies to this story. We were on the original timeline to the moment where they're sent back in time. That's the moment where the circle begins. They visit the Night Elves and the Night Elves get a glimpse at an orc. Now the timeline has changed, and once Tyrande reaches the Warcraft 3 moment again, she should at least recognize the orcs. The only problem with this explanation is that you would imagine it to have more of an impact. If the Night Elves already knew about the orcs, they might have chosen to talk first before attacking them. That could lead to negotiations with Thrall and a whole different scenario between the orcs and the Night Elves. But apparently messing with the past didn't cause any major changes to the future, and yeah, we'll just have to deal with it.
Time is a tangled web. Try not to dwell on all the loose ends.
I know this is very confusing, and I hope I'm making a little bit of sense here, because this explanation...
Perhaps something more.
You all responded with a couple of answers to this, and there's only one that really makes sense to me. First, you gave me the suggestion of the Bronze Dragonflight erasing the memories, like they have in the Escape from Durnhold instance. I can see why you would think this, since it makes a lot of sense, but there is a problem with this explanation. In the novel Stormrage, Malfurion still remembers the axe of Cenarius, the weapon he crafted for Broxigar, and he remembers Broxigar's niece Fura. Tyrande still remembers Croesus, and even Brawl knows about Croesus' influences in Malfurion's path to becoming a druid, so I doubt that they erased their memories. The explanation that did make sense to me is that before Warcraft 3, Croesus, Ronan and Brox were not yet sent back in time. Let me try to make sense of this. We have the original timeline, from the War of the Ancients to Warcraft 3 to the moment where the group was sent back in time. In the original timeline, the Night Elves, they managed to win the War of the Ancients without anyone's aid, and time went on without them knowing about the orcs. Warcraft 3 comes around and Tyrande doesn't recognize them. After that comes the moment where Nosdormu gets trapped in this time anomaly and the group is sent back in time. Have you ever asked yourself, if we are going to invent time travel somewhere in the future, shouldn't we already receive visits from time travelers? Normally you would say yes, but imagine this. A circle needs to have a beginning. If you go by the idea that we live in the original timeline, then the future has not yet happened. Nobody has invented time travel yet, so nobody has been able to travel back in time. When our timeline reaches that moment, that's the moment where the circle will begin and our past selves will receive visits from time travelers. The same theory applies to this story. We were on the original timeline to the moment where they're sent back in time. That's the moment where the circle begins. They visit the Night Elves and the Night Elves get a glimpse at an orc. Now the timeline has changed, and once Tyrande reaches the Warcraft 3 moment again, she should at least recognize the orcs. The only problem with this explanation is that you would imagine it to have more of an impact. If the Night Elves already knew about the orcs, they might have chosen to talk first before attacking them. That could lead to negotiations with Thrall and a whole different scenario between the orcs and the Night Elves. But apparently messing with the past didn't cause any major changes to the future, and yeah, we'll just have to deal with it.
Time is a tangled web. Try not to dwell on all the loose ends.
I know this is very confusing, and I hope I'm making a little bit of sense here, because this explanation leads us to the next time travel subject, which is Moruzand. Moruzand is the evil, corrupted form of
Voice
a
error.
from a possible future. This once again goes against what Amanpool had said, that there is only one real timeline, since this shows that there are several timelines, several possible futures. In a different timeline, which is already ahead of ours into the future, Nosdormu got tricked by the old gods into trying to subvert his brutality. In other words, abuse his powers to escape the death shown by Amanpool. We don't know when this took place or why this took place. All we know is that in one timeline, at one point in the future, Nosdormu fell to the whispers of the old gods and abused his powers to become Moruzand. With Moruzand came the infinite dragonflight, which we already saw trying to mess with the timelines even before the cataclysm. Unfortunately, it's never fully explained what the infinite dragonflight were trying to do. We see them trying to prevent Medivh from opening the Dark Portal, we see them messing with Thrall as he tries to escape from Durnhold, and we see them messing with Arthas in the culling of Stratholme. There are a couple of theories going around, of course, as to why they're trying to do this. For example, to prevent Muruzand his death. My idea behind it is that we know Muruzand fell to the whispers of the old gods. That's the source behind him falling into corruption. We don't know how, we don't know why, but that's the source. So it's not hard to guess that he, like Deathwing, now follows their orders. I believe that they were trying to aid the old gods, perhaps even open the way for the Hour of Twilight. Durnhold and Medivh are both roads that lead to Thrall reforming the Horde and the Horde and Alliance teaming up against several evils. If these two events never happened, then the Alliance and the Horde as we know it today wouldn't exist. There would be no one to stand against, for example, Cthulhu or Yogg-Saron, or even the Hour of Twilight. By messing with Arthas, stopping him from chasing Mal'Ganis, that would prevent all the events of the Lich King and us eventually traveling to Northrend and finding Yogg-Saron. Was it not for that chain of events, we wouldn't was far too late to do anything about it, and Yogg-Saron might have taken over the entire world. This is just my theory though. For all we know, they were just crazy and wanted to destroy time itself, or possible futures, or timelines.
Then what? What happens after destroying time?
Failing with messing up the other timelines, and now has decided to block all other timelines except the one that leads to the Hour of Twilight, also known as Endtime. The Hour of Twilight is described as the moment where the old gods break free, kill us all, and rule the world again. The reason behind blocking all the alternative time waves is to prevent Nosdormu from sending us back in time, to retrieve the Dragon Soul, and use that to defeat Deathwing. This once again indicates that Moruzand is working for Team Old God and wants the Hour of Twilight to happen. During his encounter he says that he had witnessed the true end time and that this is a blessing we simply cannot comprehend.
You fall unwitting like a blind, writhing worm towards endless madness and despair. I have witnessed the true end time. This is a blessing you simply cannot comprehend.
It makes you wonder what could be worse than all the dragonflights dead, all the heroes dead, all of us dead, but apparently something much worse is out there and waiting for us. Despite that warning, despite that future vision, we still do battle, we kill Nosdormu his evil future self, and we close the loop.
You know not what you have done. At last it has come to pass. The moment of my demise. The loop is closed. My future self will cause no more harm.
What?
Still, in time, I will fall.
It's actual cherries. That's the one. you like get there's an old Outland quest where you gather cherries from poop.
What matters is that Azeroth did not.
I'm the champion.
Survive to
Oh,
fight
this game.
another day.
Okay.
Hello.
All that matters
See you later.
Every time that Nosdormu becomes evil, falls into the form of Murozond, the time waves will lead to the moment where we kick his butt and end his life. An infinite loop. But here's what doesn't make sense to me. At the end of the Cataclysm, we see that the aspects lose their power, including Nosdormu. On the Timeless Isle, we are told that the Bronze Dragonflight
Gold.
have lost a significant portion of their power. How is
Gold.
Nosdormu supposed to become Moruzand
Gold.
if he lost his powers? Remember that Moruzand had enough power to stop Nosdormu from sending us back in time. He was equal in power to Nosdormu the Aspect, so he wasn't weakened.
Let's
Either they
see
decide to
Robin
give Nosdormu his
Chase.
powers back, or he won't be able to become Moruzand as we've seen, which goes against his little speech. Either the future has been altered, or they go back on the decision of removing his powers. Only time will tell. Despite what the future might bring, at that moment we defeat Morozond and time goes on. Thrall escaped from Durnhold and is now able to team up with the Aspects to defeat Deathwing and stop this Hour of Twilight. The Aspects claim that they are now mortal and that their power is expanding. The Age of Mortal has arrived and time travel seems to be out of the picture. Until Mist of Pandaria, where the Timeless Isle appears and those that call themselves the Time Walkers. But that is a story for next week. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos, and until next time, guys, see ya! Hello everyone, a warning in advance, there will be spoilers for the visions from the Timeless Isle and the end of Mist of Pandaria. If you don't want any spoilers, please turn off the video right now. Let's begin, shall we? Last week we talked about Nosdormu, Moruzand, the Bronze and the Infinite Dragonflight. This week we take a look at the Timeless Isle and the Time Walkers. Kairos, member of the Time Walkers, tells us what he knows about the island.
What is this place? A Pandaren
Thomas Isle is in.
a mystery in the mist. I've been here for hours and the sun hasn't moved.
Who's that? Oh, Isle Thunder.
Time is frozen in perpetuity. Cause and effect
What?
rendered all but meaningless. What could create
Fire
such
God, Black
I'd like
Ox,
to find
Shade
out.
Serpent, White Tiger, Great Crane.
or the power that was unleashed in the Sundry 10,000 years ago? We must investigate. Is it dangerous? Indeed.
Blazing Light.
This place overturns our very notion of time and how it shapes the universe. Stranded on this island, you will find the most dangerous creatures in all of Pandaria. Explore if you must, Prince Anduin. But be cautious.
God, there's so many.
I will.
It's so full of life.
It's uncertain what or who created the Timeless Isle. All we know that time stands still on the island and that Emperor Xiao Hao and those that sought to follow in his footsteps went through the trials of the Celestials. That means that once upon a time the island was stable enough to
I have to
stay in
kill him.
place and create a tradition like this. However, at one point in time, for some reason, it started to travel through time, appear in different locations, only to disappear again within seconds. Perhaps it was the events in the War of the Ancients trilogy that caused this time
Damn
anomaly,
it.
or perhaps it was Xiao
I
Hao
tried.
who was missed. But we don't know. The Time Walkers are mortals who aid the Bronze Dragonflight in keeping the Time Ways safe. Since the Cataclysm, the Bronze Dragonflight has lost a significant portion of their powers, and they now have some backup. The Time Walkers have four main ranks among them. The Historians, those that study past events and record the new. The Watchers, they watch the time waves and record, investigate and report temporal tampering and unusual phenomena. It was
Cool.
the Time Watchers who found the Timeless Isle. The Weavers, Arcanists who specialize in chronomancy, the art of weaving time. Amongst the Time Walkers, they alone can repair damage to
Fuck.
time ways, open
Again.
portals and other such tasks. These things once came easily to the bronze dragonflights, but alas, no longer. The wardens guard the
I tried.
watchers and weavers as they do their job. Kairos
This is pissing me off.
The bronze dragonflight's power have diminished greatly. We can now only catch further glimpses through time. It is quite frustrating, but we are not entirely without means. I hold in my hands the vision of time, an artifact of my own creation. The creatures of this isle have passed through time, and many carry with them some of its essence. With it, we will fill the hourglass, granting us a window into the time waves once more. At first it seems that his mission is to get power back for the bronze dragonflights, and we get the job of collecting that power. Along the way we get to see visions of the past, present and possible futures. The first vision shows us Thrall and Saurfang talking with Nuscree. The last time that we spoke to Thrall, he told us he was going to go to Orgrimmar and find any orc willing to stand against Garrosh.
I refuse to believe that all of my brethren support Garrosh. I am going to Orgrimmar.
Yeah, that's cool.
Eitrigg, Saurfang. Surely they are standing against
Gorkron.
I must find others. Set one foot in Orgrimmar. Hellscream gonna bury a knife in your neck.
Yeah.
It's a risk I have to take. But if I am killed,
Malkarok.
watch over Agra, my boy. Would you see such teams? It has to be said, Fulcher.
Yeah, I don't have that.
If we don't make it through this, I want you to know you have always been my friend, my brother.
It's not hard to imagine that this is what happened after that. The second vision shows the open chest which contained the heart of Yashiraj and the Mantit who have come to serve their god once more. Before the third vision, Kairos says that he has not been completely forthright with us. There is a traitor amongst us, but we can't let anyone know that we know. The third vision is after the defeat of Garrosh, and near the end it shows Kairos watching this event. It appears that he might be the traitor himself, although he also says that this might not be the future for our world. We now know that the events transpired exactly
He's
as
a
he
traitor in
showed
the
us, and it
alternate
doesn't have to be
timeline.
our timeline. Before the fourth vision, Kairos says that in the wrong hands, knowledge of the time waves can cause catastrophic devastation. His flight has little power to repair it now, and the fourth vision shows
Go away!
the winds burning, covered in Shagu, and everyone is dead. We now know that this didn't happen in our timeline, so it might have been an alternative timeline or a possible future prevented by defeating Garrosh.
That's such bullshit. Ah, so annoying.
Before the fifth vision, Kairos says that we now have much more control over the visions that he seeks, and there is a crux in time, an intersection of time waves right here in Pandaria, in the Temple of the White Tiger. The vision shows us Anduin visiting the cage of a prisoner on Pandaria, which we presume to be Garrosh. I think the intersection indicates two possible outcomes of the siege of Orgrimmar. One where we have lost the battle, and one where Garrosh has been locked up and awaits his trial.
Hodor, whatever. Trial, Shadow, Void, Heart of Oshina.
The final vision is the most interesting one and also the most confusing. Before the vision, Kairos tells you that he has found another crux in time, in the caverns of time itself. The vision shows what we presume Soridormi, the prime consort of Nosdormu, to die, and Kairos is standing next to it and watching it happen.
Uh-oh.
That's the last vision, so what to make of this? We know he's been looking for a spy within the Time Walkers, and as soon as he said that, we saw him looking at a defeated Garrosh. Was he just a simple bystander, or is he himself the spy?
He's
What would
sus.
his motivation be to kill Soridormi? Is this even in our timeline, or is this a different reality again? Simple answer, we don't know. But we can speculate, of course. Let's try to put the pieces of the puzzle together. We know that Nosdormu at some point in time will become Moruzand. Unless we change the future and the moment of his demise, otherwise this is his fate. I believe that Nosdormu will need his powers back to become the Moruzand that we've seen. Otherwise, how is he supposed to block the time waves and stop the original Nosdormu, all that kinds of stuff. So I believe that he needs his powers back in order to become that. We know that after the Cataclysm, the Bronze Dragonflight has lost a significant portion of their powers and that Kairos has been busy to increase that power. We know that there's a black dragon willing to do anything and everything to secure the future of Azeroth. Refion's plans blew up in his face the moment Varian decided to not dismantle the Horde and try to work for peace between the factions. Refion believes this to be a mistake and he gets quite mad at us when we bring him the news.
You were there. Is it true then? What happened in Orgrimmar? That fool king. I did everything in my power. The whole world was his. He needed only seize it. Why did he allow another war chief? He could have united the world under the Alliance banner. I promise you this. I will stop at nothing to prepare this world for the battle to come. Next time, I will leave nothing to chance. Nothing!
Next time, he will leave nothing to chance. But how much time do we have left? What if we somehow found a way to manipulate time in our favor?
The presence of the Timeless Isle is proof that many things are possible beyond the boundaries of linear thinking.
You have the power to change your destiny. Return
Indeed.
twice as
After
powerful.
the Cataclysm, my flight's connection to the Timeways
Do not
forever
mistake the power
changed.
that darkness
What if it
offers
were
for
possible
true
to shape
strength.
and mold time as you would a ball of clay? What possibilities await? What new worlds could we create?
I like the way you think.
Bronze Dragonflight lost its power over time and it seems like they want it back. Refion wants Azeroth to survive and knows about the potential of the Timeless Isle and the possibilities of time itself. Refion and Kairos come up with a plan that does not come without a sacrifice, but will be, in the end, for the greater good. The Vision of Time has been powered up by the stones that we found on the Isle. Stones touched by creatures who traveled through time. All it needs is just a little bit more power from the prime consort of Nosdormu. We know her as Soridormi. They can't just go in and kill her though, that would be far too suspicious, but there might be someone willing to work for them in exchange for his freedom. Refion puts on the disguise of Anduin, or perhaps they can convince Anduin to join the plan. Either way, it's Anduin who makes his way past the guards and he offers Garrosh an escape. Kill Soridormi for us, and we will set you free. Perhaps
5,000
we'll even
gold.
be able to alter the past for you. Wouldn't you like to be reunited with your father? Garrosh agrees. Anything better at this point than losing your life outside of glorious battle.
Alright.
He strikes down Soridormi. Kairos captures her essence, her power over time, and fills the hourglass. The plan isn't quite finished though. He then transports the power to Nosdormu, giving him and the rest of the Bronze Dragonflight their powers over time back. Nosdormu is now powerful enough to become the Moruzand that we've seen in the future, and the death of his consort could be just a thing to push him over the edge. In time, he and the rest of his flight will turn into the Infinite Dragonflight, but for now, Kairos and the others have their powers back. Now it's time for Refion his reward in all of this, which is able to send all of Azeroth, or perhaps just a few heroes, back in time. Back to a time period which would allow us to find the final Titan, or at least prevent another invasion from the Burning Legion. This is just wild speculation though. For all we know, these visions are possible futures, or maybe Kairos does kill Soridormi, but for an entirely different reason. Some of you already commented with a very easy way that they could use to restore Nosdormu his powers. It's very simple. We know that he fell to the whispers of the old gods. Why not let them restore his powers? Let the death of Soridormi be his reason to desperately want to alter time, and let that be his road into the arms of the old gods. Well, arms, I mean tentacles, you know what I mean. We don't know, only time will tell, but I can't wait to find out what this all means and what the future might bring. For now, thank you very much for watching everyone. I hope you enjoyed my ramblings and my theories and my ideas about time travel in the world of Warcraft. Subscribe if you like my videos, and until next time guys, see ya!
The cycle of time brings an end to all things.
What? Agility.
Hello everyone. A couple of weeks ago, some screenshots popped up from the PTR. They showed the old raid instance Karazhan, only someone has been busy cleaning it up by removing some cobwebs and removing some skeletons. This got a whole bunch of speculation going, especially with an eye on Warlords of Draenor, since the start of the new expansion could very well be linked to Karazhan. Why, you might ask? Well, that's what I want to discover in this video. Now keep in mind,
Not really.
most of this is going to be speculation, and for all we know, the developers are just having a laugh, and they're making these changes to get us all crazy. There are reasons to believe why Karazhan could be linked to Warlords of Draenor, and, well, let's just see how far we can go. The best explanation given about the nature of Karazhan, what's going on there, is given in the novel The Last Guardian. In that novel, the Guardian Medivh had taken on an apprentice named Khadgar. And Khadgar, as he made his way through the tower, received a vision. And these visions happened more often in the tower, only this time this vision was of himself. And what he saw was an older mage with a white beard on a dry planet and a red sky. This mage was leading human troops against creatures that he had never seen before. Creatures that were actually orcs. When he looked at this mage and their eyes locked, he was stunned because those eyes that he saw in the face of this mage, those eyes were his own eyes. So what he saw was a vision of a possible future. He talked about this with Medivh, and Medivh was the one who opened up the portal for the orcs to invade Azeroth way back when, and he did this because he was corrupted by Sargeras. So as they were talking, Medivh was very interested in this, a vision about his invading force. That's awesome, he wanted to know more about this. And as they were talking, he explained the nature of Karazhan and what's going on with time, a vision, and realities. I'll read you a part out of the book. That this tower is a place of power should not surprise.
Oh, it's soulbound.
Creatures
Fuck.
gravitate towards such places. Such places are often where the universe wears thin, allowing it to double back on itself, or perhaps even allowing entry to the twisting matter and to other worlds entirely. Was that what I saw then? Interrupted Khadgar. Another world? Medivh held up a hand to hush the younger man. I'm just saying that there are places of power which for one reason or another become the seats of great power. One such location is here, in the Redridge Mountains. Once long ago, something powerful exploded here, carving out the valley and weakening the reality around it. And that's why you sought it out, prompted Khadgar. Medivh shook his head, but instead said, that's one theory. You said there was an explosion long ago that created this place, and it made a place of magical power. You then came, yes, said Medivh, that's all true, if you look at it in a linear fashion. But what happens if the explosion occurred because I would eventually come here, and that place needed to be ready for me? Khadgar's face knitted. But things don't happen like that. In normal worlds, no they do not, said Medivh. But magic is the art of circumventing the normal. That's why the philosophical debates in the halls of the Khadden Tor are so much buffle and blow. They seek to place rationality upon the world and regulate its motions. The stars march in order across the sky, the seasons fall one after the other with lockstep
Never mind, DK.
regularity, and men and women live and die. If that does not happen, it's magic. The first warping of the universe, a few floorboards that bent out of shape, waiting for industrious hands to pry them open. But for that to happen, and the area to be prepared for you, started Khadgar, the world would have to be very different than it seems, which it truly is, after all. How does time work? Khadgar was not thrown as much by Medivh's apparent change of topic. Time? We use it, trust it, measure it, but what is it? Medivh was smiling over the top of his cup. Time is a regular progression of instants, like sands through an hourglass, said Khadgar. Excellent analogy, said Medivh. One I was going to use myself, and then compare the hourglass with the mechanical clock. You see the difference between the two? Khadgar shook his head slowly, as Medivh sipped on his wine. Eventually the mage spoke. No, you're not daft, boy. It's a hard concept to wrap your brain around. The clock is a mechanical simulation of time, each beat controlled by a turning of the gears. You can look at a clock and know that everything advances by one tick of the wheel, one slip of the gears. You know what is coming next, because the original clockmaker built it that way. Alright, said Khadgar. Time is a clock. Ah, but time is also an hourglass, said the older mage, reaching for one planted on the mantle and flipping it over. Khadgar looked at the
In time is
tried to remember if it was
bottom.
there before he had brought up the wine, or even before Medivh reached for it. The hourglass also measures time. True, said Medivh. Yet here you never know which particle of sand will move from the upper half to the lower half at any instant. Were you to number the sands, the order would be slightly different each time. But
Wow.
the end result is always the same. All the sand has moved from the top to the bottom. What order it happens in does not matter.
He's
The
talking
old
about
man's
the end
eyes
time.
brightened for a moment. So, he asked. So, said Khadgar, you're saying that it may not matter if you set up your tower here because an explosion created the valley and warped the nature of reality around it, or that the explosion occurred because you would eventually become here, and the nature of the universe needed to give you the tools you wanted to stay. Close enough, said Medivh. So what these visions are then, are bits of sand? Said Khadgar. Medivh frowned slightly, but the youth pressed on. If the tower is an hourglass and not a clock, then there are bits of sand, of time itself, that are moving through it at any time. These are unstuck or overlap each other so that we can see them, but not clearly. Some of it is part of the past, some of it is part of the future, could some of it be of other worlds as well? Medivh was now thinking deeply.
Is that a bounty for him?
It is possible. Full marks. Well thought out. The big thing to remember is that these visions are just that. Visions. They wafted in and out. Were the tower a clock, they would move regularly and be easily explained. But since the tower is an hourglass, then they don't. They move at their own speed and defy us to explain their chaotic nature. Medivh leaned back in his chair, which I, for one, am quite comfortable with. I could never really favor an orderly, well-planned universe. Khadgar added, but have you ever sought out a particular vision? Wouldn't there be a way to discover a particular vision and then make sure that it happens? Medivh's mood darkened. Or make
Anything?
sure it never comes to pass, he said. No, there are some things that even a master mage respects and stays clear of. This is one of them. Are you confused yet? I hope so, because this explanation is pretty damn vague. Something exploded, created a crater, carved out the valley,
There
and
it
made
is.
it a place of power. Someone built Karazhan on this location, we're
Really?
not sure who built
That's
it,
him.
and eventually Medivh would inhabit the tower. He
I
explains
don't
the
have a breaker.
explosion as something that happened because he would eventually arrive. So all the events, as in the universe wanted it to be ready for Medivh to take his place. Which kinda takes out the rules of reality and time and bends it and morphs it and makes it more fluid, but that's the explanation given. No matter why or how this all happened,
Come on.
we know that
Our shield.
time within
Fuck.
Karazhan is a little bit messed up. Eventually, throughout the story, Khadgar would invent a spell that would allow him to summon these visions at will, which he used to figure out who exactly let the Orcish horde into Azeroth. When he and Garona half-orc,
pretty good.
who in the meantime also made their way to the tower, when they saw this vision, they first couldn't believe it. But then Medivh showed himself, and they could see two shadows behind him. One was a shadow of his own, and the other of something much, much darker. By that time, they had figured out that something was up, that Medivh was not all that he seemed to be, and Khadgar summoned a vision of Medivh's mother, Aegwynn, a vision where she confronted Medivh and asked why he let the orcs into our world. They battled, former Guardian Aegwynn against the Guardian Medivh, mother against son, and although Medivh outpowered her greatly, he could not kill her. The spirit of the real Medivh was trying to hold back Sargeras, but he did manage to teleport Aegwynn out of the way. As the real Medivh was watching this vision, and you gotta imagine that there were like two spirits in the body of Medivh, one the real good Medivh, and one was Sargeras, the Titanic Demon Lord. So the real Medivh was watching this vision, and he let out a howl of a lost soul, screaming to the heavens for forgiveness
It's
that will
true.
never be forthcoming. With Medivh distracted, Garona and Khadgar managed to escape the tower and eventually make their way to Stormwind. There they sought out the help of enemy Lothar.
So annoying.
Once they made their way back, they searched for Medivh and they found out that what they seen of Karazhan was only half of it. Below Karazhan was a mirrored tower, much like Medivh himself. It was almost as if the top of Karazhan represented the real Medivh, and below it represented Sargeras within him. Where up above an empty meeting room would be, down below was a dungeon decked with unoccupied iron chains. Where a banquet hall stood unused above the surface, down below there was a room scattered with waste and marked with mystic circles. As they made their way down, another vision appeared, one of future Garona assassinating the King of Stormwind. Garona herself didn't understand this vision, she had only received respect from the king as she saw him as a friend. Despite that, despite not wanting to do this at all, like all of them, this vision would eventually come true. So they made their way through the tower and they found Medivh, and it was time for the final confrontation with the corrupted Guardian. In this battle, Medivh literally sucked the life out of Khadgar, turning him into the old man that he had seen in his vision. Despite that, Khadgar did manage to strike Medivh in his heart, and as he did, Medivh said, "Thank you. I fought it for as long as I could." Then the Master's Mage face began to transform, the head turning fully to flame, the horns sprouting from his brow. With the death of Medivh, Sargeras finally came fully to the surface. And as he was transforming, Lothar stood up, raised his blade, and decapitated his old friend. It was like unstopping a bottle, for everything within Medivh rushed out at once through ragged remnants of his neck. A great torrent of energy and light, shadow and fire, smoke and rage, all spilling upwards like a fountain, splashing against the ceiling of the underground vault and dissipating away. With the death of former Guardian Medivh, the immediate threat of Sargeras was gone, but his plans were already in motion. The portal was still open, and the Orcus invasion of Azeroth still had to be stopped. Now that's a completely different story. At that time, the story of Medivh and Karazhan came to an end. The war against the Orcs unfolded, the Alliance managed to push them back to Draenor, and even closed the portal behind them. The next time that we saw Medivh was in Warcraft 3, where he, disguised as a prophet, tried to warn the world of the coming invasion by the Burning Legion. Now you might wonder, how's that possible since Medivh was slain in the story? Well, Medivh's mother, Aegwynn, made her way back to Karazhan. Remember that he didn't kill her, he just teleported away, so she gathered all that magical energy, made her way back to Karazhan, back to the grave of her one and only son. She used the power that she had managed to gather over the years to resurrect Medivh, and resurrection lore-wise is not as easy as the game shows it to be. It's a very rare thing, and only incredibly powerful beings are able to do it. With his second chance, Medivh tried to set things right, tried to make amends for what he had done while under the influence of Sargeras. But before he made his journey, he first paid a visit to Karazhan. A single tear ran down the side of Medivh's face. So much sacrifice, so much pain, both to keep the plan of the Guardians in place, and then so much sacrifice to break that plan, to break the world free of its lockstep, to bring about true peace. And now even that was at risk. Now one more sacrifice would have to be made. He would have to pull the power from this place if he would succeed in what was to come, in the final conflict with the Burning Legion.
The sands of time have run out. Son Durotan. Cries of hope echo our winds. You must rally the Horde and lead your people to their destiny.
Medivh sucked the power out of the tower, and with it he took the visions, the memories of the place with him. He then transformed into a crow and sought out the race of Azeroth to warn them, as we've seen in Warcraft 3. You would imagine that by doing this, Karazhan would no longer be a place of power or of interest. But in the Burning Crusade, the tower opened up, and we got a chance to see it from the inside. With this new raid came new enemies looking for the power and the secrets of Karazhan. Just a small recap of what we know so far. We know that Khadgar has been in the tower. He has been taught by Medivh himself. He is the mage. He has been in the tower. He has discovered his secrets, and he was able to summon these visions. We know that Medivh was corrupted, that there was like a duplicate of the tower below the ground, which was mirrored to the real tower, where the top was like the real Medivh, and below it was like Sargeras. We know that time itself does not exactly work the same within that crater, within the Tower of Karazhan, and we know that it's a place of power. Now here's where the story gets fuzzy. The Burning Crusade had sort of a story behind it, but nothing really consistent, and a lot of room is left for speculation. When you look up the description of Karazhan that they gave at the time, it says the following. The Tower of Karazhan once housed one of the greatest powers Azeroth has ever known, the sorcerer Medivh. Since his death, a terrible curse has pervaded the tower and the surrounding lands. The spirits of nobles from nearby Darkshire reportedly walk its halls, suffering a fate worse than death for the curiosity. More dangerous spirits wait for him Medivh's study, for it was there that he summoned demonic entities to do his bidding. However, the brave and foolish are still relentlessly drawn to Karazhan, tempted by rumors of unspeakable secrets and powerful treasures. Forge a group of 10 stalwart heroes and journey to the tower in Deathwind Pass. But be warned that only those who have achieved level 70 should dare enter. So what was actually going on back then? Why did we go to Karazhan? Well, it's hard to say really. I found an article from Know Your Lore that says the following. We went to Karazhan because the Kirin Tor were investigating the tower and asked Khadgar for help. They had noticed that decades after Medivh's death, some new malevolent force was infesting the tower. And since it sits on a ley line nexus, that concerned them. And as we investigated the tower, we discovered the horrible truth. The Burning Legion has infested Karazhan and has seized control over the powerful arcane secrets out within. And they must be stopped.
West.
You have to imagine that these ley lines
Okay.
are like lines of magical power that run across all over Azeroth. There was a quest line in Northrend where you had to investigate these ley lines, and Archmage on
Yep, I'm far away here.
Karazhan says the following. If you trace
Anyway.
ley lines traversing Azeroth,
A little bit
they
longer.
all converge right about here, and he points to the tower.
Now I
The
go
Burning
to-
Crusade is set in the timeline after Warcraft 3, so that's after the moment that Medivh sucks all this power out of the tower. So it's very possible that Karazhan still holds an important role for those who seek power, despite Medivh taking all that magic with him. If we take a look at the bosses inside of Karazhan and the lore behind them, well, it's all over the place. We have a Titan Keeper, the Maiden Virtue, who somehow, some way, made her way into Karazhan. We have Morus, who was the steward of the tower for Medivh. He is also part of the Last Guardian book, and Medivh actually kills him, and now he's been resurrected by the Burning Legion to fight once more. We have the Shade of Haran, who's Medivh's father, and for some reason he popped up with his spirit inside the tower. We have a chess event that replays the first war between Stormwind and the Orcs, and we have demons, probably summoned by Medivh, or perhaps they took up residence later. It's all over the place, which makes Karazhan really cool, but it doesn't help with figuring out the story that we're trying to tell. There is one boss who is really interesting when it comes to the connection of Karazhan to Warlords of Draenor. He is the final boss of the raid, Prince Malchezaar, and he has some interesting things to say.
All realities, all dimensions are open to me. Simple fools. Time is the fire which you burn. The celestial forces are mine to manipulate. Who knows what secrets hide in the dark? Ah, yes. I do.
All realities, all dimensions are open to me. Time is the fire in which you'll burn. This to me implies that time is still a fluid concept within Karazhan, as Medivh explained to Khadgar. When you look at Malchezaar's loot list, he drops one item that seems rather strange.
Look here. He left his weapon behind.
Gorhal, the weapon first used by Grom Hellscream and later passed on and abandoned by Garrosh Hellscream. So how is it possible that there are two Gorhals in the world? This question has been asked a lot, and I still think that they simply messed up and didn't realize that they later wanted to give Gorhal to Garrosh. But what if they didn't mess up, or perhaps found a way to cover up their mistake? What if Malchezaar used the powers given by the tower to travel through time? Use the power of those ley lines, the power of the tower, to manipulate
Power of the
reality,
tower.
manipulate dimensions, and collect Gorhal from somewhere in the future, or maybe a duplicate from a different reality. If you can go with that idea, then Karazhan still has some power left, and perhaps a very important role for the next expansion. We know that in Warlords of Draenor, Garrosh together with Kairos go back in time and create an alternative reality with an Iron Horde that's going to invade our planet. The Dark Portal's going to turn red, and they're going to try and take over our Azeroth. Looking at all this history of this tower, the location where the ley lines of Azeroth connect, the loot that drops, and all these little hints and clues, what better place than Karazhan to manipulate time and find notes on how to manipulate the Dark Portal? Remember that it was Medivh, under the influence of Sargeras, who made the Dark Portal. He was the one who contacted Gul'dan and told him how to build the portal on Draenor's side. In this new reality, that moment should not happen, unless they change the events as we know. Other than that, that moment should not happen, so perhaps they can find some information inside of Karazhan that Gul'dan could use. Or perhaps they're going to make Karazhan that staging area for us, us. That's that suicide mission they were talking about. Because we know that Khadgar is coming with us. We know that he was able to manipulate the visions within the tower. Why couldn't he do more? Why not use the power of Karazhan to create a way to Iron Horde Draenor? I can imagine that the Dark Portal is going to be protected by the Iron Horde. If you make a connection between realities, if that's your way of invading a planet, then you want to get that protected and guarded, and you want to station some troops so that you don't lose that portal. If you go by that idea, and the idea of trying to dismantle the Iron Horde from within, then you'll need an alternative route into the Draenor that Garrosh created. I believe that Karazhan could be the perfect place for it, and if they're going to do it, I hope they're going to do it in the form of scenarios, like we've seen on the Isle of Thunder, where you get these individual scenarios, each telling a different story.
Isn't
I think that would be great.
Mop
I
had
also hope that they won't revamp Karazhan, because I love the raid the way it is. I wouldn't like it to see it changed, because there are a couple of pets to collect there. I would just like to have a raid and a separate scenario to go with that, so that my old beloved Karazhan just stays the same. This is all wild speculation though. For all we know, the developers are just having a laugh, cleaning up some stuff, and changing a couple of names.
So
They
that was
might not
two.
use Karazhan at all. I thought it was just fun to speculate and tell you a little bit about the history of Karazhan, to think about what they might do with this brilliant raid. So with this information, right, with Medivh and Karazhan and Khadgar, all that good stuff, what do you guys think? Would you like them to use Karazhan?
Ooh, I love that.
Scenario? Would you like it to be a new heroic dungeon?
Midnight Mythic?
Or would you like them
Midnight.
to just leave Karazhan alone and give us a
Wait,
different
why is
way
Midnight
to
red?
into this Iron Horde Draenor? I would love to hear what you guys have to say. I'll link a couple of articles in the description if you want to read more. If you want full details on the story of Medivh and the opening of the Dark Portal and all of this story, get the book called The Lost Guardian. It's a great book. It's written by Jeff Grubb, and I think this is his only Warcraft novel, but I thought it was brilliant, and it shows a little bit into the mind of Medivh, and it made Medivh one of my favorite characters. So if you want more details, get that book. And yeah, that's all I have to say really. I think I've been rambling on for long enough, so let me know what you think. Subscribe if you like my videos, and until next time guys, see ya!
Please, no more! My son! He's gone mad! I'll not be tortured again! Who are you? What do you want? Stay away from me! At last, the nightmare is over.
Okay. Khadgar.
Hello everyone! In this video I'm going to cover nearly all of the lore that is already known about Warlords Draenor. A ton of information will come at you, so if you want to watch it in a couple of sessions, I've placed links in the description to my individual videos. Before we begin, a big thank you for the people over at finalboss.tv for providing me with additional information and material. If you're looking for a podcast with some solid information about endgame raiding, check them out next Sunday. Link is in the description, and we might see each other in the chat room. With all that out of the way, let's begin. At BlizzCon, they've mostly talked about how the expansion is going to begin and what we're going to see once we reach Draenor. This is of course for obvious reasons. They don't want you to know exactly what's going to happen throughout the entire expansion. So how does the story start? Let's find out. Garrosh is going to escape with the help of a friend with time travel powers. They first said that this was just a friend, and later they dropped the name Cairo Dornu, the dragon named for Kairos, who we met on the Timeless Island.
What you're here to do? Well, you're here to defeat the Iron Horde. These guys have found a way, as a result of Kairos involvement, to connect this world of Draenor 35 years in the past and have that portal that gets us connect to our time.
Garrosh is going to go back in time, around 2 years before the orcs drink demon blood, get corrupted, destroy Draenor, and become slaves to the Burning Legion. By changing these events, he creates a whole new reality, different from ours, so our past, the lore and history that we know about the orcs, won't change at all. Our history, our world is perfectly fine. This is a completely new reality, a completely new timeline. Even in this new reality, the orcs will become the Horde, only now it's called the Iron Horde. They also built a dark portal, but this dark portal doesn't only connect to Azeroth, it connects to our Azeroth, in our current time period, somewhere after the siege. To put that into a picture, here's the original timeline where we have Horde invading all the way to Garrosh getting his butt kicked. Garrosh, after getting his butt kicked, escapes with some help, travels back to around 32 years ago, and changes the events that we know, creating a complete new reality with a new timeline. Now comes the twist in the story. They then build the Dark Portal and connect this new reality that is for us
so
set
annoying.
back 30 years to our reality at the current time period. And it connects these two worlds, and that's going to happen somewhere after the siege. I know that some people drew the conclusion from the information given that we won't travel back through time, that we're only going to travel to this new Draenor, but that this Draenor is in sync with our time. This is not correct. Garrosh is not going to wait 30 years. We're not going to see old timers, old warlords of Draenor with walking sticks. The Draenor that we're going to see is around 30 years in the past for us, around the time of the novel Rise of the Horde. Here's the explanation given by Chris Metzen.
Actually, on that point, like just to get out ahead of it, like with the time thing, I mean, you know, we've got a number of stories kind of set in the past, you know, War of the Ancients and things like that, and there have been issues over time where there's a little potholes or little breaks in the line, you know, as that factored into this expansion set and really chasing this story, we certainly thought a lot about that. The time travel stuff's it could be pretty rough, you know, just as writers and making, you know, editorially making sure everything lines up and everything's hit. Sometimes, you know, things don't go to plan. So with this one, I just want to say very clearly that yes, at some point, oh my God, some point soon, Garrosh will go back in the past, but the point at which he arrives, which is slightly before the events of Rise of the Horde.
You can stop now.
Oh, I lost my train of thought. See how complicated it is? But at the point at which he arrives, it's all normal kind of continuity to that point. And the point at which he arrives, effectively, it's like it's its own game. Our world's fine. History's fine. The threat ultimately is it maybe makes like a quantum. I'm not going to go there. He told me to stop, I'll stop. Fine. You explain it.
If we do our job, as the past is fine. We are focused on Draenor going here, kicking some earth.
They said that time travel will not be a part of this expansion, and they've
Wait, what?
really hammered on this point. What they meant by that is that although we will see some
It
travel
won't
through
affect
time,
the future.
the expansion is not going to be all about time travel. It's just a tool to get us to this Iron Horde Draenor. A tool to bring these Orcish badasses back into the story. To show the Draenei in their prime and to show Draenor before it got all corrupted and blown up. Time travel always brings a lot of complications, a lot of plot holes, like I explained with the War of the Ancient Trilogy. They want to avoid that. Don't think about any time travel complications. Don't think about future Garrosh meeting past Garrosh. Don't think about duplicate items. All of that, they're not going to deal with it. Time travel is just a way to get us there. The rest of the expansion will not deal with it. So Noble, if this is just an alternative reality with an alternative timeline,
I can't even DPS him.
care about this Iron Horde. Well, that's where the Dark Portal and the connection to our reality and our time period comes in. This Iron Horde wants to invade our Azeroth in our time period, and we need to stop them. They've explained that this is going to be a story experience. It's not going to be told, it's not going to be reading about this. You're going to experience how you're going to go into that time period. And they've explained that this is going to be similar to the pre-event that the Death Knights had in the starting area. So it's going to be a set of events that you're going through, a suicide mission they even called it, and this will get you to the Iron Horde Draenor. And there, you're either going to team up with the Draenei of that time period, that's for the Alliance of course, or you're going to team up with the Frostwolves if you're the Horde. So that's the intro, and once we reach Draenor, you can see it as it was before it got corrupted by demonic influences,
damn it.
before it got blown up by Ner'zhul and his portals. This planet Draenor is what we call Outland today, only it's in his full glory in the middle of the Orc-Draenei War. From the introduction trailer, you could see some of Garrosh's influence. These big monsters, they're called Gron, and they were the master of the ogres. In our history, the orcs teamed up with the ogres, but never with the Gron, so Garrosh has changed that. On top of the Gron, you might notice some badass technology similar to what we've seen in the Siege of Orgrimmar. Garrosh has taken blueprints with him, knowledge from the future, to upgrade this Iron Horde. On the other side, we see Velen fighting. In the original story, he was all about trying to get some peace going with the orcs. Sure, they eventually fought back, but they were slaughtered, overrun, and the Naaru told him that he was needed for a greater purpose. That all of this struggling between Draenei and Horde would eventually lead them to the Army of Light, and Velen was a key part of that. In this reality, he's at the forefront, kicking ass and taking names, which implies that he has seen, or perhaps the Naaru have told him, that something is up, that something isn't right. This is not the way things were supposed to go down, and now he has the liberty of fighting back. Don't forget that Velen has the power to see the future. If anyone knows that something is going on here, it's him. By staying off the demon juice and not using fel magic, the world of Draenor never dries out, it never gets corrupted, which makes for some interesting developments, both for the story and the planet. We will see places like Shafra, connected to the ocean of Draenor. Those mushroom creatures that we know from Zangamash, in this time period, on this planet, they are whales. Arkidian, or however you pronounce it, the sacred burial place of the Draenei, is not blown up yet. The Black Temple is still called Karabor, and the Draenei never developed into the Broken or the Lost Ones. Those are just a few examples of the changes that Garrosh has created, and as I said, the Dark Portal will be built, and it is going to connect our Azeroth and our time period to which we react and stop the Iron Horde from invading. Once we reach Draenor, Alliance and Horde are going to conquer their own cities and create a base of operations. We're not going to just get a city, you're going to need to conquer it or defend it. Awesome. The Horde is going to assist the Frostwolf clan, led by Duroten, who's Thrall's father, and they are located in Frostfire Ridge, a land both with snow and active volcanoes. Apparently the Frostwolf clan is not going to join this Iron Horde. It has some issues to go through though, they need to get their act together, probably some disagreement about this choice, but in the end they'll be on the side of Team Future Horde. The Frostwolf clan has to deal with another race native to Draenor, namely the Ogres. These are not the Ogres that you and I have met, these are bigger, better, most badass, savage Ogres. On the Iron Horde Draenor, they are the ones who have the big civilization. Orcs, they were scattered clans, and the Draenei pretty much kept to themselves, so the Ogres are a big thing in this time period. They are the ones with the big civilization. You're going to take Bladespire Citadel, liberate it, and use it as your own base, and that will be your capital city. Another threat that the Frostwolf clan has to deal with is that they're fighting with the Thunderlord clan, who are about to enter the Iron Horde. I didn't know much about the Thunderlord clan, so I asked around on the forums. Apparently these guys are monster hunters. They hunt the giants of Draenor, they're riding on wolves, they're kicking ass. They want to join the Iron Horde. We don't want the Iron Horde to get any stronger, so we're going to have to do something about that. The Alliance will assist the Draenei. Draenei are of course led by Velen the Prophet, and this area is located in Shadowmoon Valley. On the Iron Horde Draenor, Shadowmoon Valley isn't the green, fiery volcano area that we know. It's a forest, and it's always nighttime, it's always dark, and the main city that you're defending is Karabor. We know it as the Black Temple. I had the chance to talk to Bay from Final Boss TV. He was actually there at BlizzCon, and he was able to check out the starting area. I asked him, is it going to be as huge as the Black Temple? He told me it's going to be even bigger. The area is under attack by the Iron Horde, and Alliance needs to repel this attacking force, otherwise the Draenei won't stand a chance. The Iron Horde is going to invade from the docks, and we gotta defend the city, otherwise, yeah, we're in trouble. Once that is done, it becomes your capital city, but there's another threat in the area, the Shadowmoon clan. This clan is led by Ner'zhul, and it has several camps in Shadowmoon Valley. Ner'zhul is hell-bent on joining the Iron Horde, and he will do anything to his people to make that a reality. We don't want that. We don't want Ner'zhul into the Iron Horde, so we're going to have to do something about it. As you can imagine, with a title like Warlord of Draenor, the Warlords are going to play a huge part in the story. But who are they? What do we know about them from our reality? And what can we expect to find on this Iron Horde Draenor? Keep in mind that some of these warlords have such a big story behind them that they will get their own individual videos in the future. For now, let's just cover the basics and find out what we know. Grommash Hellscream, the Warsong clan, father of Garrosh, located in Nagravos. Grom Hellscream is probably the most popular and commonly known warlord. Grom from our time was the first who stepped up and Gul'dan offered the orcs a drink to increase their power. He was the one most eager to go to battle, no matter what battle it was. His war cry is fitting for his name, and his weapon Gorehowl sings as it strikes in battle. He was not a part of the first Horde invasion, but he was there when they came back for a second time to collect artifacts for the He, together with Rexxar and others, held the Dark Portal on the Alliance side, as others made their way from Azrael. When Khadgar was forced to close the Dark Portal, Grom and the others were locked out and had to stay behind on Azrael. After around 20 years, Thrall comes into the picture, and Grom Hellscream was the first orc that Thrall got a chance to talk to after escaping from Durn. 20 years of demon blood pumping in Grom's veins that changed him from a hothead, all about fighting and warmongering, to someone who could agree with Thrall's notion of peace and negotiation. He helped Thrall to liberate the other orcs from the internment camps and the reforging of this new war. Even after all these years, he still took a big gulp of demon blood back to free, knowing what it would do with him. It was thanks to Jaina Proudmoore, Thrall and some others that he regained his senses, and in the end he managed to land the killing blow to set his people free from their slavery to the demons by killing Manwë.
Run away, little girls. The blood haze has lifted. The demon's fire has burned out in my veins. I have myself.
On this Iron Horde, Lenore, Grom is going to be the one who will unite the clans into the Iron Horde. He is a rock star, kicking ass, taking names, but he is going to have anger issues. This Grom never had that journey that ours had, so the Grom that you, me, Thrall, and even Garrosh remembers might turn out to be just a little bit too hot-headed. They also said, will the anger get the best of him? I would bank on it, so it will be very interesting to see how they're going to do his story. Will his anger once again make him fall, or is he going to learn how to deal with it? And will they be able to keep that picture that people have from Hellscream, that hero, that ultimate orc? Will they do it justice, or will people hate what they're going to do with it? Will be very interesting to see. Durotan of the Frostwolf clan, Thrall's father, located in Frostfire Ridge. Durotan from our time was one of the orcs who was not happy with the events that unfolded in Draenor. He was not happy with time in the Draenor, especially since they saved his life and Orc and Draenei lived peacefully together for many years. So he didn't embrace the idea of waging war with them as much as the other orcs did. He was against the demonic powers offered by Gul'dan. He refused to drink from the blood of Manwë, and he was the one who went to Orphan Doomhammer on Azeroth and told him about Gul'dan's betrayal. This act eventually cost him his life because Gul'dan had sent assassins to kill him. He did stood up against him, did let his voice be heard as all around him his brothers fell to demonic corruption. He was one of the few orcs that had the balls to actually stand up and say something against this, that this was not their way. On this Iron Horde, Draenor, Durotan's people rejected the Iron Horde's call to Orcish unity to focus on their own survival. They moved to Frostfire Ridge. There they battled with the Thunderlord clan and the ogres who are inside the Blades Fortress. As they presented Durotan, they asked the question, will he join the Iron Horde this time, since they are no longer influenced by demons, but later they said that he's going to be part of Team Future Horde, and that they're going to be part of their starting area. He is the only Orcish warlord that's confirmed to be on our side. They also asked the question, was Durotan a noble dude at heart, or did the situation turn him into this noble dude? It will be very interesting to find out. Ner'zhul of the Shadowmoon clan.
Ner'zhul.
Shadowmoon Valley. Ner'zhul from our time played a huge part in the story of Warcraft. He was the one who first got in contact with Kil'jaeden, and Kil'jaeden manipulated him into forming the first horde and kill all of them. Ner'zhul would eventually find out that Kil'jaeden was just using them, but by that time it was already far too late, and his apprentice Gul'dan was happy to step in and follow the orders of Kil'jaeden. Ner'zhul didn't do much to prevent any further corruption of his people, because he feared Kil'jaeden and he feared for his own life. He did send a note to Durotan to prevent him from drinking demon blood, but that's about it. When the first horde invasion of Azeroth failed, Terran Gormfiend stepped up to Ner'zhul with a plan to create more portals in different worlds. They failed to conquer Azeroth, but other planets might have put up so much Ner'zhul was all behind his plan. They gathered 3 artifacts from Azeroth, and in the end, Ner'zhul made his portal. Not just one portal, portals all over Draenor, and he told the orcs who were with him to step through the portal and follow him to the promised land. The remaining horde was still fighting the Alliance at this time, and the others didn't want to leave their brothers behind. Ner'zhul killed one of them to get them motivated, and they reluctantly stepped through the portal to this unknown destination. Unknown to Ner'zhul though, this portal would not lead into the promised land, it would lead him straight to Kil'jaeden, who still had some unfinished visions with the orcs who refused to follow his orders. He ripped Ner'zhul his soul in little pieces, causing agonizing pain, only to reform it and do it all over again. After a while, Kil'jaeden got bored with this, and he came up with a new plan that would require Ner'zhul to be turned into the Lich King, and he would be sent off to Azeroth to weaken it and get it ready for a new invasion from the Burning Legion. After that, the events of Warcraft 3 follow, which is too much story to go into right now, but that's pretty much the backstory of Ner'zhul. On this Iron Horde Draenor, Ner'zhul is leading the Shadowmoon clan, and it's interesting to note that his description on the website says the following. His vision of a united Orcish culture has been eclipsed by the manipulation of his apprentice Gul'dan, in the bloody reality of the rising Iron Horde. If I read this right, it almost seems like he was busy getting the Horde together, like we know from our time. Like Kil'jaeden found the Draenei, wanted them dead, manipulating Ner'zhul into forming the Horde. Gul'dan betrayed him, and it looks like the same event is going to take place for this Iron Horde, except this time, they don't drink any blood. That's just my interpretation. You could take this in a lot of ways, but what we know for sure is that Ner'zhul wants to be in this Iron Horde. He wants to be part of this, and it matches the Ner'zhul that we knew. Sure, he was manipulated by Kil'jaeden, but he had a little lust for power inside of him, and in the end, he betrayed all the other orcs. It will be interesting to see what this Ner'zhul is going to do to be worthy of this Iron Horde. They described him as the shaman to the shamans, as in, you might be a good shaman, this guy is the top dog. Gul'dan of the Storm Reaver clan, also located in Shadowmoon. In our timeline, Gul'dan was the one who led the orcs down the path of demon blood, spell magic, and he didn't give a crap about his people. All he cared about was power. Power and even more power. When Ner'zhul figured out that Kil'jaeden was manipulating the orcs, he wanted out. Gul'dan was the apprentice of Ner'zhul. He found out about Ner'zhul wanted to stop all these events, and he took Ner'zhul his place in following the orders of Kil'jaeden. Kil'jaeden promised Gul'dan the good life, powers beyond his imagination, but once the orcs fulfilled their mission, killed nearly all the Draenei, Kil'jaeden just left them to their fate. It was at that moment that Medivh, under the influence of Sargeras, contacted Gul'dan and told him about Azeroth and how to build a portal to it. The Horde invades, and Gul'dan decides to spy in the mind of Medivh in search of more power. Unfortunately, at that moment Medivh gets killed because his friends found out that he was corrupted, and this put Gul'dan into a coma. In the meantime, Durotan informs Orgrim Doomhammer about Gul'dan's betrayal, and Orgrim steps up. He takes out Blackhand and becomes the war chief. Now Gul'dan's in trouble, but he manages to convince Doomhammer to keep him alive, and in exchange he creates more powerful troops, the First Death Knights. In the end, Gul'dan's lust for power would strike a devastating blow to the First Horde invasion. As they march to lay siege to the capital of Lordaeron, Gul'dan takes his troops and sets off to the tomb of Sargeras in search of more power. Orgrim Doomhammer, hell-bent on keeping the honor in the Horde and making an example of those who don't uphold that honor, is forced to send troops after Gul'dan. This forces the Horde to fall back and eventually fall by defeat. Gul'dan's fate was sealed though when he entered the tomb of Sargeras, as the demons there took great pleasure in killing this treacherous Horde. However, that wasn't the last time we saw Gul'dan. Even his skull manipulated events and allowed the Horde to invade for a second time, and eventually giving Illidan the power needed to take out Lycandrius in Warcraft 3. Some of you already noticed that Gul'dan still has a green skin. On this Iron Horde Draenor, Gul'dan is going to be the only one who drinks the demon juice, usually offers it to the others, and events don't go as planned. Garros prevents the orcs from drinking, and this places Gul'dan in a very awkward position. He's an outcast now of the Horde, so his Shadow Council, the construction of the Dark Portal, all of those plans are no good. Gul'dan is not happy with that, and neither is Kil'jaeden. Yes, Gul'dan and Kil'jaeden are still on the phone with each other, and that should lead to some very interesting story development. If they do it right, Gul'dan's character should be manipulative, backstabbing, and willing to do anything to get to that power. It's interesting that Gul'dan is located in Shadowmoon Valley, together with Ner'zhul and his clan, and even the Draenei and the Alliance main city. I wonder how that's going to play. Black Hand of the Blackrock clan, located in Gorklon. Black Hand from our time was the very first war chief of the Horde, but in reality he was a puppet of Gul'dan who ruled behind the curtains. When the orcs started to magically age their children to get more troops, Black Hand was one of the first to offer his kids, and this created some messed up adults with the mind of children. It was Black Hand who led the Horde into their first invasion of Mordor, but later Gul'dan's betrayal would be known to Doomhammer, and Orgrim was the second in command of Black Hand. He killed Black Hand to take the title of War Chief, lead the orcs down a more honorable path. You can still fight a child of Black Hand in Upper Blackrock Spire, located on Blackrock Mountain. People already asked me if this clan was named after the mountain or the mountain after the clan, but this is not the case. Both of them already had their names, and Black Hand just saw it as a good omen that they shared a common name. Black Hand and his clan on the Iron Horde Draenor are the backbone of the Iron Horde. Now that Gul'dan isn't manipulating him, Black Hand is a more honest orc. He and his clan are the smiths, and they are the ones who took Garros' blueprints of the future and turned them into weapons for the Iron Horde. One of the raids that we're going to get is called Blackrock Foundry, where we are going to dismantle this foundry of weapons and armor creation, and in the end, we'll face off against Black Hand himself. Kargav of the Shattered Hand clan, located in Spires of Arak. Kargav from our time has a pretty interesting story. In the time period where Ner'zhul is trying to make all these new portals, Kargav was led
Peter Godmez
all the Alliance who were trying to stop Ner'zhul.
said,
This allowed Ner'zhul to make his way to the Black Temple, but in the
dropping
end,
a lurk
Kargav
while I work less than 3. Hope you're having a great day.
Yeah, I am. Thanks, man.
There he asked Great Mother Gaia if there were any able orcs in the area to fight with them. But Gaia wasn't happy with everything that happened to the orcs. The formation of the hordes, the corruption of the planet, the use of demonic powers, and she thought that the Alliance invading their planet was their own damn fault. She told him to look around and see and create a base of operations. We're not going to just get a city, you're going to need to conquer it or defend it. Awesome. The Horde is going to assist
talking
the
about the
Frostwolf
Garrison
clan,
City.
led by Duroten, who is Thrall's father, and they are located in Frostfire Ridge.
I can't believe he's been doing it this long. It's been
Apparently the Frostwolf clan
7
is
years.
not going to join this Iron Horde. It has some issues to go through though. They need to get their act together. Probably some disagreement about this choice. But in the end, they'll be on the side of Team Future Horde. The Frostwolf clan has to deal with another race native to Draenor, namely the Ogres. These are not the Ogres that you and I have met. These are bigger, better, most badass, savage Ogres. On the Iron Horde Draenor, they are the ones who have the big civilization. Orcs, they were scattered clans, and the Draenei pretty much kept to themselves. So the Ogres are a big thing in this time period. They are the ones with the big civilization. You're going to take Bladespire Citadel, liberate it, and use it as your own base, and that will be your capital city. Another threat that the Frostwolf clan has to deal with is that they're fighting with the Thunderlord clan, who are about to enter the Iron Horde. I didn't know much about the Thunderlord clan, so I asked around on the forums. Apparently these guys are monster hunters. They hunt the giants of Draenor, they're riding on wolves, they're kicking ass. They want to join the Iron Horde. We don't want the Iron Horde to get any stronger, so we're going to have to do something about that. The Alliance will assist the Draenei. Draenei are of course led by Velen the Prophet, and this area is located in Shadowmoon Valley. On the Iron Horde Draenor, Shadowmoon Valley isn't the green, fiery volcano area that we know. It's a forest. It's always nighttime, it's always dark, and the main city that you're defending is Karabor. We know it as the Black Temple. I had the chance to talk to Babe from Final Boss TV. He was actually there at BlizzCon, and he was able to check out this starting area. I asked him, is it going to be as huge as the Black Temple? He told me it's going to be even bigger. The area is under attack by the Iron Horde, and Alliance needs to repel this attacking force, otherwise the Draenei won't stand a chance. The Iron Horde is going to
Alright, I'm
invade
done.
from the docks, and we gotta defend the city, otherwise, yeah, we're in trouble. Once that is done, it becomes your capital city.
Yeah,
But
shit.
there's another threat in the area, the Shadow Moon clan. This clan is led by Ner'zhul, and it has several camps in Shadow Moon Valley. Ner'zhul is hell-bent on joining the Iron Horde, and he will do anything to his people to make that a reality. We don't want that. We don't want Ner'zhul into the Iron Horde, so we're going to have to do something about it. As you can imagine, with a title like Warlords of Draenor, the Warlords are going to play a huge part in the story. But who are they? What do we know about them from our reality? And what can we expect to find on this Iron Horde Draenor? Keep in mind that some of these warlords have such a big story behind them that they will get their own individual videos in the future. For now, let's just cover the basics and find out what we know about these warlords. Grommash Hellscream of the Warsong clan, father of Garrosh, located in Nagrand. Grom Hellscream is probably the most popular and commonly known warlord. Grom from our time was the first who stepped up when Gul'dan offered the orcs a drink to increase their power. He was the one most eager to go to battle, no matter what battle it was. His war cry is fitting for his name, and his weapon Gorehowl sings as it strikes in battle. He was not a part of the first Horde invasion, but he was there when they came back for the second time to collect artifacts for Ner'zhul. He, together with Rexxar and others, held the Dark Portal on the Alliance side, as others made their way from Azrael. When
Alright, I'm
Rexxar
done.
was forced to close the Dark Portal, Grom and the others were locked out and had to stay behind in Azrael. After around 20 years, Thrall comes into the picture, and Grom Hellscream was the first orc that Thrall got a chance to talk to after escaping from Durnhorde. 20 years of demon blood pumping in Grom's veins had changed him from a hothead, all about fighting and warmongering, to someone who could agree with Thrall's notion of peace and negotiation. He helped Thrall to liberate the other orcs from the internment camps and the reforging of this new horde. Even after all these years, he still took a big gulp of demon blood back in Warcraft 3